But there were other factors here. Judge Lancito completely lost control of the case. This is a case that should have taken no more than 6 weeks to try. And it actually took 9 months. You said 11. That includes some of the pretrial hearings. But in earnest, from opening statements to verdict, it took 9 months. That was absurd. And again, Lancito lost control. He allowed the defense to introduce utterly irrelevant, wild theories. And you have to remember that I grew up in Los Angeles. I know it quite well. At the time of the criminal trial in 1995, Los Angeles was this cauldron of racial unrest, distrust of police officers. And when the elected DA, Gil Garcetti, sent the case away from where the crime occurred in Santa Monica to downtown Los Angeles, I shook my head and said, that is a huge mistake. I'd tried cases in downtown Los Angeles. Jurors there hate cops. And this was a cop case. They distrusted science and DNA, which was new at the time. And I think if this criminal case had been tried in Santa Monica, the verdict would have been completely different.
Obviously, the racial divide, still to this day, not quite as deeply if you look at polls, but still it's there. There were celebrations among some African Americans when he got off, and it was just jaw-dropping disbelief among probably most white Americans. Just the shock on one hand and the celebration on the other was just so stark.
Yeah, and the polling data showed that. The vast majority of African Americans polled after the verdict agreed with it. The vast majority of white people did not. And that has changed over the years. A majority of African Americans polled not long ago now agree that O.J. Simpson got away with 2 murders. The wisdom of time has changed their opinions and their attitudes. But, this was a case in which I think in the end justice was not done. I've covered hundreds of trials in my 40-year career as a journalist, and I've never seen such overwhelming evidence of guilt. And yet the jury would not accept it. It was a classic case of jury nullification. I mean, the blood of O.J. Simpson was dripping away from the bodies to the back of the home where his Ford Bronco was parked. The blood of the victims were on the outside of his Ford Bronco and smeared and splattered on the inside of his vehicle. Their blood was found on his socks in his bedroom at his home. Their blood was found on a glove at the back of his property, and the matching glove had been dropped at the scene of the crime. I mean, this is incontrovertible, irrefutable evidence. And yet, Barry Scheck, and he's a fine lawyer, I thought he was using smoke and mirrors to try to deceive the jury.
And, Greg, for all we were told, all that blood was planted by people that were just out to get a successful black man.
Yeah, I mean, that was the other crazy part of it. It was utterly ludicrous that the defense argued that the glove at the back of Simpson's property was planted by police, that the blood inside the vehicle, the Ford Bronco, was planted by police, that the blood on the gate at Simpson's home was planted by police, that the blood on the socks was planted by police. Completely absurd. No right-minded person would ever believe it. And yet Johnny Cochran was so persuasive. And one of the pivotal moments in the trial came when Chris Darden, goaded by the famed defense attorney F. Lee Bailey, who was a part of the Dream Team. Bailey taunted Darden into having Simpson try on the glove. And I mean, it was one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen a lawyer make. And sure enough, the gloves are handed to O.J. Simpson, and he struggles to try to put them on and sort of pretends that they don't fit. And in some ways they didn't fit. Why? Because they'd been soaked in blood, and then they'd been frozen and unfrozen. So they'd shrunk.
Right.
So, that, of course, led to the famous line in closing arguments by Johnny Cochran. It was a brilliant line from a defense standpoint. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. And the jurors grabbed onto that, and that was their excuse.
There are plenty of people now who are young enough to not remember just that year of OJ, and then before that, just how famous he was. He was one of the most recognized people in the world, and admired and beloved.
He was such a famous guy. And his story, his life story, was really quite remarkable. Before the trial began, I traveled to San Francisco, where I'd lived for a decade, and I went to his neighborhood. He grew up with his best friend, Al Cowlings, in the projects, an area of San Francisco that, very run down, very crime-ridden. It was a tough life. And to survive, you had to fight your way through it. And yet he had this wonderful personality that was so engaging, and it translated into television. He joined Monday Night Football after his career, and as you and I talked about, he was a pitchman for Hertz and other products because he was so immensely popular. And he transcended issues of race. He famously said, I'm not black, I'm OJ. And there was an element of truth to that. Everybody liked him. Everybody loved him. And yet he had these demons.
O.J. Simpson, dead at the age of 76, give or take. He lived about 41 years longer than his ex-wife, about 51 years longer than Ron Goldman. Thanks, Greg.
My pleasure.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
Buying a home warranty is one of the best investments you can make for your home. Are you worried about your air conditioning or your refrigerator breaking down? How about your heat, your plumbing, or any other major appliance? Fortunately, many people count on Select Home Warranty to provide them with a peace of mind, taking the hassle and cost out of home system and appliance repairs. Plans start at $1 per day. Call now at 800-231-5953 or shwvalue.com and save $200. In the event your appliance breaks down, don't worry. Select Home Warranty offers same-day service for repairs or replacement. Select Home Warranty is peace of mind you can trust. Repairs or replacements done by highly qualified service technicians. So I want you to call now. Don't wait for one of your major appliances to break down, for your systems to break down. Then it's panic time. 1-800-231-5953. Or do this. Get a free quote online at shwvalue.com and save $200 today. So that's 1-800-231-5953. Call now.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.
Columbo and Katie.
A new study shows puberty blockers have been shown to cause long-term fertility problems in boys. We'll discuss this on Friday and get the weekend weather forecast with Steve Templeton.
Weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
When you've got something to say, be heard loud and clear.
If they'll just do what they were voted in to do.
This party needs to get a backbone. They need to get some spine.
Join the conversation. St. Louis's place to talk.
The Democrats and the Republicans can give us all the lip service they want, but what they need to do is take action today.
1019 and 94.1.
You have to take a stand sometimes.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion.
21, right?
4.
I am not drinking a lot.
Really bad decisions.
I'm drinking a lot.
It's time for Crime. Only on Fox Nation. All part of Fox Justice. Sign up now and get your first year of Fox Nation for $29.99. America is streaming.
Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Friday, April 12th. This is the Fox News Rundown. Congress is set to vote on a bill to reauthorize a major national security program. The story from Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act is set for another vote in the House after over a dozen Republicans broke from their party to kill the bill that would reauthorize and reform FISA earlier this week. The program allows for the surveillance of foreign persons, and the intelligence community says it's a vital tool for preventing terror threats. But some lawmakers believe it's been used to target Americans. Several of the Republicans who tanked the bill are satisfied with changes that reauthorizes FISA for 2 years instead of 5, with the expectation certain amendments like a warrant requirement will be voted on at some point. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
The Republican House Speaker is set to meet with former President Trump today at Mar-a-Lago.
Speaker Mike Johnson and former President Trump are expected to announce a plan to introduce an election integrity bill. The legislation would bar non-citizens from voting, even though non-citizens are already not allowed to vote in federal elections. Speaker Johnson's appearance here comes after former President Trump urged Republicans to vote against a bill Johnson wanted to get through to extend a warrantless surveillance program on suspected terrorists. The former president wants a deeper overhaul of that program that he says was used to spy on his campaign. This also comes as Johnson fends off a threat by Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene to call for a vote to push the speaker out over his support for additional Ukraine funding. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Are you putting off filing your taxes? Well, you're not alone.
It's only a few days until tax day, and for some, they wait until the last minute to file. Russell Fazio of Ohio State University says people are faced with a process called valence weighting bias. It describes the tendency tendency of people to tap more into either a positive or negative mindset when faced with new or tedious responsibilities. Researchers found those who leaned more into their negative thoughts when deciding to file their taxes early wound up procrastinating, even if there was a benefit of receiving a tax refund. But having a negative weighting bias is not always a bad thing. Researchers say these types of people are usually more realistic about how they will perform. I'm Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
I'm Sue Gussman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
Is FBI Director Christopher Wray the modern-day Paul Revere? Warning, warning, is anyone listening?
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com. Hey, barbecue lover, Tony Colombo here for my friend Jonathan Heslop and his company, Rockwood Lump Charcoal. If you're like me and log a lot of hours behind the barbecue pit, make sure you have a bag of Rockwood by your side next time you grill. You don't have to use nearly as much Rockwood charcoal as traditional briquettes, so your bag lasts longer, plus it burns cleaner, faster, and more evenly, providing a superior grilling experience. Use it once and you'll never want to use anything else. Rockwood Lump Charcoal is available at over 100 area locations. Find the closest one to you at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Katie here, and I'd like to talk to you guys about Michael's Flooring Outlet. You could gain peace of mind with Michael's Flooring Outlet for your flooring and carpet installation needs. Their team of experts ensures that the job is done right the first time, providing you with attentive and personalized service. Just like my parents, you can trust them to replace your old carpet with beautiful hardwood flooring. Visit one of their 3 locations in Dardenne Prairie, St. Peters, or Creve Coeur, or check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Kim Patton from Comprehensive Integrative Healthcare. Kim, you focus on the treating of neuropathy. What are the signs of neuropathy?
The most common symptoms are numbness, burning, cramping, usually in the hands and feet.
Tell me about the success you're having with your Restore Neuropathy treatment program.
Tim, our program includes 8 distinct steps, offering a unique experience from other treatments. No surgery, no addictive medications, and we are seeing a success rate of 95%.
Kim, that is incredible. How can people learn more?
Visit us online at cih.health. That's cih.health.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peters location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Friday, realizing that linear thinking and logic are fading fast in America, I can't help but raise this question once again. If liberals are so concerned about gun violence, why do they oppose tough measures to stop it? The problem is horrifying. You can't even have a Super Bowl celebration without a mass shooting. School kids gunned down, shoppers at malls in danger, criminal gang members shooting up neighborhoods. But when I suggest making all gun crimes federal crimes with harsh mandatory prison sentences upon conviction, the left and even some conservatives will not support the solution. So here's a reality check. The Second Amendment of the Constitution allows law-abiding citizens to protect themselves with firearms within reason. You can't have a bazooka. That's not going to change. And individual states should pass public safety laws that provide as much protection as possible from criminals. But with about 300 million guns in circulation right now, bans are not going to work. Only tough punishment will. Sell an illegal gun, 5 years minimum. Carry an illegal gun, 3 years. Fire one, 10 years. First offense, no parole. That's the solution. Back after this. Are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare with an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Busy winds again today out of the west and northwest, sustained at 15 to 25, but gusting at times above 30. They will fade away late this afternoon and this evening. Other than that, this is a gorgeous Friday. Sunny skies, highs in the upper 60s, 50s, and clear for your evening plans in St. Louis. Down to 46 tomorrow morning for a crisp Saturday start. A big-time warm-up this weekend, though, under mostly sunny skies. 83 Saturday, 87 Sunday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
The future depends on teachers. Every day, teachers are shaping our tomorrows, starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history.
Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who will make preventing pandemics their life's work, sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who will help combat climate change,
and generating possibilities for a student who will become the first in their family to graduate college.
It all starts with teachers who meet challenges with creativity, who reinvent education for the future, who work towards a school system that lifts up every child, regardless of race, income, or zip code, and who enable the full potential of our students, our communities, and our country.
Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Shape the future. Teach.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL. Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
I mentioned this in the news a little bit earlier this week. The news broke that Dylan Mulvaney, America's most famous or most infamous gender-confused man in the country, is going to be in St. Louis a little bit later on this month. Young America's Foundation tipped me off to that. Of course, that is being advertised on SLU's campus, but for some reason, they're not really going public with that. Gee, I wonder why. Okay, so what is the response going to be? Well, we're going to find out. Let's do that around 7:35 when Nick Baker from Young America's Foundation joins us with the response. Because remember, Dylan Mulvaney is being paid thousands and thousands of dollars to come speak at the very venue that SLU would not allow Matt Walsh to express opinions at. Literally the same venue. So we'll get the update on that just a little bit later on. Hey, good morning. Happy Friday. I'm Mike Ferguson. On the Missouri side of the state line, obviously one of the biggest fights right now is over school choice, and where you've got leftists and sympathizing conservatives who are joining up with leftists, which is bizarre, but they are trying to stop an expansion of, among other things, the Most Scholars program. And so we talked to our friends at the Herzog Foundation, Darrell Jones, the president there, and got an update with what the Most Scholars program actually does. Now, remember, the Herzog Foundation is one of the organizations that gets to administer this. And so we separated fact from myth and why it's so important, not just to young people, not just to families, but frankly to the entire state. Here's the information that Darrell gave us. We've talked so often with you, Darrell, about what you do to promote Christian education, but also to provide the resources for those who want to homeschool or start a micro school or work with Christian schools. We talk about that, but right now, most scholars is what's in the headlines. I mean, when we talk about the school choice debate and what's happening within the legislature, within one party, within fractions of that particular party right now, a lot of this comes down to will people have more access to school choice or not. And I think what's getting lost are the mechanics of this, because you're deeply involved in the mechanics with the Most Scholars program, because you're one of the clearinghouses, so to speak. So when they're talking about expanding that program, how much demand is there for this? I mean, there are people saying, oh, it's, just affects a few people. Why are we expanding this? But it's pretty popular, right?
Yeah, Mike, you're exactly right. And honestly, it's the topic around the country. It's not just a local, state, or regional topic at all. You're hearing about it all over the country, and in red states and even blue states that are really frustrated with status quo public education and looking for private options for all of the families that representatives and that states serve. And we're seeing a great demand, certainly in the state of Missouri. The Missouri legislature and Governor Parsons signed what activated and began operating in July of 2022 is the Missouri Scholars Program that individuals from across the state can just willingly, choose to give to. So for example, my wife and I, we can give up to 50% of our Missouri tax liability. We can give to one of 6 clearinghouses, of which Herzog is one of those, and we can give up to 50% of our Missouri tax liability to the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation, for the purpose of the foundation then finding students and families that qualify. And then those dollars can be turned around to be given, $6,300 scholarships across the state. And so what's happened is, since that happened in 2022, we just released to all of our donors our latest report. We've awarded 1,140 student scholarships in that 1,800 months. These are all students in the state of Missouri who now have an option for private education when the families don't believe that the public option serves them very well at all. In addition to that, we've been able to raise, just through the contributions, the tax credit donations from over 340 supporters, we've raised $6.9 million. Those are new dollars that individuals in the state of Missouri are designating. We want this to go to help families across the state. We're giving to schools in the St. Louis area. We're giving to 80 different schools across the state of Missouri, both private Christian and private secular schools, to give all families support for choice for their students, for their children.
Okay, so just to clarify something right there, you talk about the $6.9 million. That's not taxpayer government funding. Those are donations that have come from individuals and families and maybe some other. But we're talking private donations. That's not government sending you a check.
No, that's exactly right. That is absolutely. That's $6.9 million in tax credits. And so, the way that the legislature and the governor signed the law into existence, it's you and me and other folks and corporations across the state of Missouri that are saying, okay, I'm liable for this amount on my Missouri taxes every year. I can take up to 50% of my liability, and I can earmark it not to go to Jefferson City, but to go to one of these 6 clearinghouses. Those dollars then equate to $6,300 scholarships for families that qualify for the scholarship. And again, in 18 months, we are thrilled that we've been able to help scholarship 1,140 students because of 340 Missouri taxpayers who've been willing to say, hey, we'll contribute. We'll take up to 50% of our tax liability. And that's $6.9 million that have been turned around for scholarships for students across the state of Missouri.
Good morning, Darrell. Gabe here. So how does one go about earmarking that money for the various education organizations? Where can somebody go to learn how to do that?
Absolutely. HerzogFoundation.com. We are happy to answer any questions and to talk people through the process. It's really not a difficult process at all. About a 5-minute process is what it amounts to. But if you contact us at HerzogFoundation.com, in fact, I'm Darrell. Here you go. I'm Darrell, Darrell, at HerzogFoundation.com. We would be more than happy to give you the instruction. It's a very simple process. It's not difficult at all. And much of it you can find just by going to our website, HerzogFoundation.com. Okay. But we're happy to have phone conversations and talk people through the process.
And Darrell, I mean, obviously the politicians are deciding whether or not the limit on this, the cap on this is going to grow, which would obviously mean more opportunity for younger people. You all aren't doing the political thing, but this does affect what you're allowed to do when it comes to providing this access. So is it getting harder to separate out, hey, listen, politicians are going to do their things, the parties are going to do their things, we're just trying to get young people more access to school choices and empower parents here?
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're a 501c3. We're not involved in lobbying. We don't have any presence like that. But what we do is once the law passes, we deal with what is the law and what are we allowed to do, because what we believe is that parents need options. And when parents have options, that's better for their kids and the education of their kids. And so, this Missouri Scholars Program, as it is, and yet to see how it will be amended or modified, if at all, through this legislative session. But the reality is, what we do know is it is not funded by the Missouri state government. And so the only way, if they raise the cap to $75 million in tax credits that are allowable, it means 6 different clearinghouses have to go find, $75 million. And that only happens through Missouri corporations and Missouri taxpayers who see the benefit and really want to earmark their tax dollars to go to this program. So we're certainly eager to speak with anybody who'd like to talk about that mission. Oftentimes you look at, what's going on in the country and certainly as a conservative, I, with my hands in the air say, well, what can I do? This is something in the state of Missouri that every Missouri taxpayer and every Missouri corporation has the opportunity to say, you know what, I can help children in our state just with my tax dollars, just by utilizing the limits of the law to earmark up to 50% of my Missouri tax liability to the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation for the purpose of making scholarships available to more students for more families.
Yeah, and that's what we need to be talking about this in the terms of the scholarships, in terms of the donations, because I keep hearing opponents saying these are vouchers, which is a totally different thing.
Different thing.
These are not vouchers, and I have a feeling that they know that when they make those claims, when they say vouchers are a scam, vouchers, that sort of thing. Right. But maybe it's a matter of we also need to be careful of our how we present this, because these are not it's just factually incorrect to call them vouchers.
That is factually incorrect. These are not vouchers. This is not state funded at all. These are dollars that never go into the coffers, much like other pieces of Missouri law that allows for tax credits for certain things that that the House and Senate and the governor have seen as viable and important for the state. So, this is not. This is not robbing Peter to pay Paul at all. This is not a voucher system. You're exactly correct on that. It's the willful donations of people who are earmarking up to 50% of their Missouri tax liability. And certainly, during this week, as we're approaching April 15th, this is a time where people are talking to their tax advisors and tax accountants and attorneys and figuring out, okay, where are my dollars going and what is my liability and how am I meeting the law? And so a good time for us to be talking about this topic for sure.
Hey, good morning, Darrell. Stalponticus here. Quick question for you. If someone works for a company that does matching donations in a situation like this, is that applicable for you guys?
That is a great question, and one that, to be honest with you, I would have to direct you to our ESA people because I don't know the answer. What I know for certain, is that it is absolutely tax liability. And so it's not viewed as a donation per se, as much as it is, the directing of tax credits, the receiving of tax credits for tax. So I don't know that, over the top contributions factor into that at all. That's a great question that I wish I was more versed on to be able to answer for you this morning.
Well, all the more reason for everybody to look into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. What I do know is if a corporation pays Missouri tax, up to 50% of that corporate tax liability could be distributed for student scholarships to private education, both Christian and private education across the country, including Christian schools. And the Herzog Foundation, the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation, would be more than happy to help with that process. Another one of the fallacies that get articulated is that, the foundation and these 6 clearinghouses are just really getting fat on all of these dollars. Listen, this costs us money to operate this program. What the legislature said that each of these 6 clearinghouses could keep back for the operation of the program does not operate the program. And so we believe in it so much that, we're investing Herzog Foundation dollars to make this successful and to help families with school choice options.
Going to get things started with that first morning news dump of the day on this Friday, right here just ahead in a couple of minutes on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I want to know one thing. Where's the Republican outrage?
Live and local.
How worked up are you news and political junkies for this one at this point?
This is News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
With Old Man Winter blowing into the heartland, let me tell you, Hanson's Tree Service is here to help. Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. Look them up 24/7 at hansonstree.com. Do you have any tree problems at your home or your business? Overhanging branches? Have Hanson's and the gang take them down professionally so Old Man Winter doesn't. What about organic mulch? Hanson's Tree has got that in bulk. It'll save you in price and time. Incredibly convenient. Protect all those assets you've got in the ground and have Hanson's take care of everything above the ground for you as well. Get them out to your homestead or your business right now. hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there's a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
Hey guys, Ken Kruger. I've gotten to know these guys really well over the last few years. Yes, St. Louis Bath and Renovation. They're the most trusted name in bathroom remodelers in the St. Louis area. In fact, if you need bathroom repairs, complete bathroom remodeling, or handyman services, call St. Louis Bath and Renovation at 314-477-6476 or email Rob at stlbr.com. That's St. Louis Bath and Renovation.
So, you want Steph's Pizza, but you're in Lake St. Louis and it's just too far to go. Not anymore. Now you can feed that Steph's Pizza craving quickly and conveniently in Lake St. Louis. Same great menu with a new location. 111 Pond Fort Trail in Lake St. Louis. Steph's Pizza in the Chesterfield Valley on Long Road, in St. Peter's on Jungerman, and now in Lake St. Louis. Check them out at Steph'sPizza.com because tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
Always be clear where you get your conservative talk.
Soros Fund Management is positioned to become the biggest shareholder of Odyssey, the nation's second largest radio company.
St. Louis's trusted source and number one for live and local conservative talk. This is News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
All right, got a lot of ground to cover today. America's most famous gender-confused man is bringing his circus of mental illness to St. Louis. I had quite a time writing that headline there. And an institution of higher learning here in town is spending a lot of money to bring him here. Now, we mentioned this earlier this week, but later on today, we're going to talk about what that response is going to be to this. A national media report about the downward spiral of the city is being called devastating by some leaders.
It was an amazing article.
It really was. Yep. And OJ is dead. Finally. All right. Just take a deep breath around St. Louis, and you're going to be reminded that marijuana dispensaries are plentiful around here. You just go, oh, yeah, that's legal now. Among the newest ones is Kind Goods on South Broadway, and that's now open despite complaints about the location. We told you about this when the fight was going on. It's basically across the street from Life Academy Charter School, and the school and some area residents complained about the location of the pot shop, but at the time, the city did not have distance requirements to keep them away from schools, so now they have opened, and literally you walk out of the school, you're looking right at a marijuana dispensary.
And if folks want to know where it is, it's the Soulard neighborhood in South City.
Right, yeah. They're, South Broadway, I guess
Yes,
that would be.
yes.
Yep. All right, next Friday is the deadline for Congress to extend FISA, which is a government spying program the FBI says is crucial to detecting and preventing threats to the homeland. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle want to see some changes, though. The addition of warrant requirements for investigators that's required in that, gosh dang it, what is that? Oh, the Constitution, to reduce the chances of government spying on everyday Americans. Congressman Russell Fry, he's a Republican out of South Carolina, defending that position. He was on Fox Business.
There are exigent circumstance exceptions within the warrant requirement. There are things when you need to get a speedy warrant that you can do, but you can do this in a lawful way that adheres to the Constitution and puts these guardrails on these agencies that have abused this for years.
Okay, an effort to just renew it as is failed on Wednesday with a lot of Republicans in opposition to it. Basically, get a warrant, feds. That's the constitutional requirement. That's what protects our rights. All right, city and business leaders are responding to a Wall Street Journal report. KMOV anchor Samantha Jones kind of summarizes the article here.
Rundown buildings and vacant high-rises. It is no secret downtown St. Louis has seen better days. Well, now it's getting national attention for being stuck in a so-called doom loop. The Wall Street Journal article calls St. Louis a real estate nightmare and a cautionary tale for other cities.
And that article is one of those rare times where a news piece really shakes things up. Downtown and the City Hall folks are reeling from this Wall Street Journal article.
It was pretty depressing to read.
Yeah, I've got it right here. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go into more depth at 8:05 is when that's going to happen. All right, Blues are holding on to their playoff hopes. They host Carolina tonight at the Enterprise Center. It's their second to last home game. That's a 7 o'clock game. And the Cardinals start another road trip tonight. They play the Diamondbacks in the desert at 8:40. Bally Sports has that game. Lars Nootbaar, now off the disabled list. He is expected to play tonight.
Well, that's good news.
Yep.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Severs JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. It's your choice to take 5 on one of these great offers. 0% financing for 5 years or up to $5,500 cash rebate and a 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details, but don't wait too long. These offers are for a limited time at Severs JCB, and check out their full line of industry-leading JCB equipment. Check them out online at seversjcb.com.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy. Regardless of your health condition, you could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Amid concerns over abuses of warrantless spying by the FBI, the House gearing up to consider reauthorizing the FISA program.
House Speaker Mike Johnson is expected to bring forward new legislation to reform and extend part of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, known as Section 702. However, a conservative revolt prevented an earlier bill reauthorizing it from reaching the floor. Johnson's Plan B would extend the program for 2 years instead of the full 5-year reauthorization first proposed. Johnson hopes that'll be enough to sway GOP critics.
Correspondent Ben Thomas says those critics complain of FISA-authorized spying tools being turned against the American people. They're insisting on guardrails to prevent that kind of abuse going forward. Israel on edge, even more so than usual, in light of Iran's threat to attack. Iran's supreme leader vowing to avenge a strike on an Iranian diplomatic post in Syria. If Iran does launch an attack from inside its territory, Israel's foreign minister is promising to respond in kind, with Israel striking inside Iran. New gun buyer background checks will soon be taking effect.
The Biden administration has announced that thousands more firearms dealers across the U.S. will have to run background checks on buyers at gun shows or other non-store locations. The rule aims to close a loophole that has allowed guns to be sold by unlicensed dealers who don't perform background checks to ensure the potential buyer is not legally prohibited from having a firearm. Gun control advocates are cheering the move, while gun rights activists are expected to challenge the rule in court. Greg Clugston, Washington.
President Biden planning to transfer even more student loan debt from those who took out the loans to those who did not. They're calling it debt forgiveness. On Wall Street, Dow futures down 109 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Has been confirmed. Those brave Americans who are trying to preserve free speech continue to be censored, shadow banned, or silenced. Wealth Protection Research is on a mission to share the liberating ideas of some of America's brightest and most free thinkers. People like Jim Rickards and Porter Stansberry, whose ideas are putting financial control back in the hands of everyday people, helping them protect their money against a government that seems intent on destroying it. Text TRUTH to 76626 to find out more. As this election moves forward, we just released a report that reveals our 3 favorite ideas for protecting and growing your wealth during the 2024 election. These ideas are especially critical if you have an IRA or 401k. Text TRUTH to 76626. Discover ideas that are so simple and actionable, they might save your retirement. Text TRUTH to 76626 now for your free report. That's TRUTH to 76626. Standard text and data rate.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Busy winds again today out of the west and northwest, sustained at 15 to 25, but gusting at times above 30. They will fade away late this afternoon and this evening. Other than that, this is a gorgeous Friday. Sunny skies, highs in the upper 60s, 50s, and clear for your evening plans in St. Louis. Down to 46 tomorrow morning for a crisp Saturday start. A big-time warm-up this weekend, though, under mostly sunny skies. 83 Saturday, 87 Sunday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, News Talk STL listeners. This is John from Thrive. Because of you, Thrive has won Give STL Day the last 7 years in a row. When this happens, not only does it give our tiniest preborn citizens the loudest voice in our city, it puts us in front of thousands of abortion-vulnerable mothers and fathers who desperately need our services. There are 1,000 top nonprofits that participate each year, so imagine the impact that your investment makes. Give STL Day is coming up on May 9th. Early giving starts April 24th, and life champions like yourself have set up a double match up to $100,000 so that every dollar you give goes towards saving 2 times the lives. Each year, News Talk listeners have stepped up and made it clear that the fight for life is the greatest humanitarian effort of our time, and there is no better cause to support. Join us again to keep the life banner waving high over our city for the 8th year. Go to thrivealivestl.org right now to activate your triple match and keep medical missionaries on the front line. That's thrivealivestl.org.
This is what's happening.
I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while.
President Biden is not interested in bringing people together, and he's also not interested in creating real solutions.
He came to give a campaign speech, and it was that.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin God.
It's Friday!
Okay, just got a question for you guys here. Let's get me your initial gut reaction here, because this is something that a lot of people in Washington, D.C. are like, why are you asking stupid questions like this?
Really?
Should the feds have to get a warrant before they spy on you?
Oh, they're wondering why they should?
Yeah, they really don't want to. They don't think they should have to.
Well, there was this convention a couple hundred years back, and they discussed this kind of thing, and they put something in a very important document and enshrined it in as the law of the land. I think that's what happened. That's what I heard.
But we have threats to the homeland. And
okay, then we should just burn it.
It would be inconvenient for them.
Oh, okay. We'll just burn it down.
All right.
And it's not to say they haven't been doing it for the last 40 or 50 years anyway.
Exactly. All right, News Talk STL weekend program. We are number one for live and local conservative talk 7 days a week. Don't forget the Randy Tobler Show Saturday morning, right here, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. He's live. He's taking your phone calls. He's talking about all the stuff, and you don't want to miss it. All right, joined now by Paul Curtman, former News Talk STL talk show host extraordinaire, former state representative, now Florida man correspondent, because he's living in the better weather than we are here. All right, Paul, I know you've got some strong feelings about this. I want you to respond to something Senator Josh Hawley had to say. He was asked about, the FISA renewal because there were almost 20 Republicans who said no, and they voted against the just blanket renewal of the FISA law, the Section 702, which gives, of course, for people, just so they know, the federal government basically warrantless surveillance power. The federal government says, well, that's just to monitor foreign citizens. But Josh Hawley was on America's Newsroom on Fox last night, and he says, no, that doesn't work for him.
I think we've got to reform Section 702. I am not in favor of just renewing it without serious reforms. We have seen major abuses. Americans have been spied on. We know that the FBI improperly used the secret database 280,000 times.
All right, but Paul, the FBI and the Justice Department, they say they've got to have this thing renewed, and they're trying to get it renewed as is, saying that's critical for fighting crime and terrorism. What's the right response to that?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Well, first, to Senator Josh Hawley's comments, not renewing it is reform. So I think that is a totally plausible and reasonable way forward. We can find another way. We haven't always had FISA courts, and I think that our congressmen and women and the American people all need to remember why we require warrants in the first place. And to Gabe's point just a few minutes ago, the whole point of a warrant is so that way the government can prove to us beyond any shadow of a doubt that all the checks and balances have been checked if they have to come after an American citizen. The problem with a FISA warrant is nobody knows about it. And when it finally comes out that there was a FISA warrant that was given for some type of surveillance on American civilians and American citizens on American territory, they say the same thing. Well, we did have a warrant. It was a secret warrant from a secret court, but at least we had a warrant. If you have to shroud the whole warrant process under a veil of secrecy, it completely defeats the point for which the Constitution requires us to have a warrant in the first place. So these FISA warrants have been widely abused. And the thing is we only know about the abuse once somebody blows the whistle. Otherwise, we wouldn't know about it at all. And so whenever they have to exercise any compliance, whenever they have to prove to anybody that this is being done in a good and reasonable, safekeeping way, all that the FISA courts have to do is just tell Congress that they're compliant. That's what they have to do. And then we just have to take their word for it that they're compliant and that this isn't being abused. So I think a good reform is maybe to not renew it at all, because we have learned over the last decade and a half that we cannot trust the federal government with the privacy of the American people. Edward Snowden blows the whistle on this when we first found out how bad it was in the first place. It's been used to exploit and punish the political system, and now we can't even count on our own elections because Barack Obama was using this against Donald Trump in 2016. I don't know exactly what all the sections are, but I say let's start with not repealing it. With not renewing it at all. And if there's a way that we have to conduct surveillance to keep us safe, we can still do it. We did it for decades and decades and decades and decades before FISA warrants and FISA courts were a thing. Let's find another way that's more accountable.
Okay, I just want to point out here, because I know DeGabe's got a question here, that some conservatives and pretty much all libertarians were warning about the consequences and what would happen way back when this law was being debated in the first place, and we were right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to do a mea culpa on that one, because I was a supporter of the Patriot Act originally, but I was young and dumb, as they say, right? But Paul, so a lot of the opponents of this move of the non-renewal would say, well, what tools then will the federal government have to keep us safe from foreign influences who have infiltrated the nation, which is probably a bigger danger now than it even was prior to 9/11 because of our open border?
Yeah, well, there you go, right there, Gabe. Let's start with that. Let's close the border. See, I can't count on these people who say, no, we have to have these secret courts in order to keep us safe. Well, if you really believe that, just patch the hole in the fence. You know, when I was in the Marines, if we ever got hit inside our perimeter, the first thing we did was secure our perimeter. So if they're making the case that we're getting hit or we're about to get hit inside our perimeter, well, then secure the perimeter. It's the first thing that you do. And so anybody who says, well, we need these FISA courts, but then on the other side, if they've ever fought against a border wall, if they were one of the Republicans fighting against President Trump when he was trying to get money to create a border wall and he was trying to get that money from the Department of Defense, you remember this, guys. When Donald Trump first took office, he had the House and the Senate and Republicans, and it was Republicans that tried to stonewall getting that border money into any type of bill or legislation. It was Republicans that forced him to take it from the DOD. It was also Republicans who created the special committee to investigate this Russian dossier, which was a huge hoax. So we can't count on anybody who's saying, let's reform it. We just need to reform these laws. Well, I'm saying let's start out by reforming it by letting them completely expire. Let's bring everything back into transparency for the American people. And let's start with saying this. If you really think we're under threat, the proof's in the pudding. Go out and secure the border wall before you decide to spy on American citizens.
All right, Paul, let me switch gears a little bit. I saw a report today saying that a lot of intelligence agencies around the world, not just the U.S., are expecting Iran to launch some sort of military attack against Israel in the next possibly 2 or 3 days. And at the same time, we've got President Biden telling Israel basically stand down for 6 to 8 weeks as well. But the White House, Karine Jean-Pierre, basically saying, yeah, but our support for Israel is ironclad. We just want them to stand down for 6 to 8 weeks to allow aid into Gaza. These are mixed messages to the hilt from the administration, but could this pose any danger, not just to Israel, but even to us eventually?
Yeah, I think it could to us eventually. I mean, one of the best partners that we have in terms of surveillance and in terms of a stable region is the partnership that we've had with Israel in the Middle East. So if Israel goes away, right, if Iran gets their wish, if their dream comes true and they're able to wipe Israel off the map, this will completely even further destabilize everything in the Middle East. It'll destabilize the prominence that the U.S. has had and enjoyed there now for decades and decades. We're already losing some of that because of the Biden administration. China is now cutting deals with Iran. So let's not forget that if they were to do that, things are going to escalate really quickly. That might even pull China. It might pull China closer to some type of military action, which they have been very reluctant to take in many of these countries around the world that they're currently dealing with. This is all pointing towards trying to push and suppress American prominence and influence around the globe further down into the abyss. And thanks to Joe Biden, it's happening because of things like this. If Iran is now saying in the next couple of days, they're like, if we believe that there's a threat there, and then we're also dropping aid into Gaza, and then we're telling Israel to stand down, we're essentially telling Israel, don't do anything while we allow everybody on every side of you to begin to build back up and get ready for an attack. And I think it does send mixed signals. I don't think Israel's going to listen. And then I do think that what's going to happen from one presidential election to the next, our relationship with Israel is not going to remain constant. It's going to completely swing in the balance from one election cycle to the next, and that's going to even further destabilize things in the Middle East. As much of an issue and as much as destabilizing effect that it seems like Israel has in the Middle East because of who they are, the fact of the matter is because they're there, it's brought a lot of stability to the Middle East. People need to go back and read their history books and understand about these tribal wars that existed during World War II and before World War II, and the stabilization that both the British Empire and the state of Israel has had on the Middle East.
Good morning, Paul. Stell here. You can take off your political cap for a second and put your financial cap on. If I can ask you about inflation numbers, those ticked up again, the latest inflation numbers. We also got jobs numbers, and those were about 303,000, but we never hear the administration admit the fact that the vast majority of those numbers are for part-time jobs, not full-time jobs. So I was wondering what your thoughts were about those latest numbers.
Yeah, you can't count on them. Listen, every time the federal government comes out with economic data, and this is what I tell my clients. As you guys know, I manage investments. I manage retirement investments and for lots and lots of people, and I get the same question because people want to find some security in the future when it comes to finances. And I get phone calls all the time. They're like, hey, this is going to be good. The inflation numbers are better, so we should see the market go up. And I tell people, like, no. Don't count on the government numbers. They are wrong. And the same government numbers that you're kind of calling me with and saying, hey, isn't this a good thing? The same people completely missed inflation back in May of 2021. And when it did hit, they said it was inflationary. And how nobody saw it coming to begin with when we started literally creating trillions of dollars, brand new dollars that have never been in the market. We created them, meaning all the dollars in your pocket are now worth less. So now you have to spend more of them to buy stuff. That's inflation. Like how they all missed that during all these bailouts and all these stimulus packages, not thinking inflation was going to be an issue. So no. Don't count on the government numbers. And markets, on top of that, markets are irrational. So even if the numbers are great and everything's pointing in the right direction, the economy could still take a dump because you can't control, and that doesn't necessarily point to people's spending behavior. So don't always just put all your hope and confidence in the numbers. Be well diversified and protect yourself and hedge your bets going forward financially. So
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question, Stel, but don't just trust the numbers. They'll come back out and we'll have a correction in a few days, and then after that, they'll come out and correct that correction.
Yeah, you're right about that.
I got to tell you, I just noticed, and this shocks me, that the theme of this conversation has been government isn't trustworthy in Washington.
Wait a
DC.
minute.
I know.
What? I think there's a philosophy that kind of is pinned on that.
Yep.
It's a political philosophy, yeah.
All right. Well, Paul, once again, let's wrap it up. We've already tagged you on our social media, but the website people want to get in touch is what?
Yeah, if people want to get a hold of me, they can go to prcurtman.com, PRCURTMAN. I got a newsletter that goes out a couple times a month talking about inflation and finances and investments, and that's totally free. Anybody can get that if they want.
All right. Hey, Paul, good talk to you again. Thanks. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Just ahead, believe it or not, that O.J. Simpson slow speed chase, that was 30 years ago.
30 years?
30 years ago.
Man, it feels like, well, maybe not yesterday, but last week.
Yeah, 30 years ago. And
I think that Bronco would classify as a classic car now.
Yes. And he's dead.
And he's gone.
He's dead.
The Bronco has gone off into the sunset. What direction? We don't know.
Because, yeah. So just ahead here, I've always wanted to talk about O.J. Simpson in 2024 on the radio.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. I'm curious if we get you guys' thoughts on all this. It's called the media coverage, because everybody's like, they're not really sure how to talk about O.J. Simpson because you know what? He was allegedly an acquitted murderer. Because I'm supposed to say acquitted, but what's he going to do? Sue me now?
Yeah, right.
But he's also like the internet joke right now. I mean, there are more people laughing about this than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that just ahead here.
I was going to wear gloves to work today.
But
they didn't fit.
News, analysis, opinion.
You want to give me more information. You want to take the place of what I trust.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
This is moving season for many homeowners and businesses. Contact my sponsor, McGuire Moving and Storage. McGuire will come to you, give you a free, honest appraisal. McGuire, fully licensed, insured, local or long distance, with climate-controlled storage. McGuire Moving and Storage has the Larry Connors USA seal of approval. 314-241-0600. 241-0600. McGuireMoving.com.
Kickstart your spring with spring into green savings on a John Deere compact tractor at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. For a limited time, we have 0% financing for 84 months with zero down on select models. Plus, when you purchase an in-stock model year 23 compact tractor, you'll save up to an additional $2,500. Take home the tractor of your dreams today. Visit snpartners.com for more information.
Offer valid through 4/26/2024. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. So many of us are suffering from allergies right now. It's time to get your home clean and healthy, and Zero Res is here to help. Book a cleaning in April and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, plus you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Get the jump on spring cleaning now. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
All right, I'll admit I haven't heard this song in years. Der Kommissar from After the Fire.
Yeah.
Which is actually a cover of the Falco hit song. Falco's was big in Europe.
Really?
And, yeah.
I didn't know Falco did this song.
They did. He did. I guess it would be he did.
Yeah.
That's right. And After the Fire covered it.
I could, with his voice, I could see that fitting. Interesting. This was kind of that early era of MTV.
Yes.
You know, this song and the video kind of
1982.
Made for this. Yeah.
You're right.
Very early era. Yeah. All right. So today is Flashback Friday.
I want my MTV.
That's right. That plays music.
That plays music.
I don't want. Is MTV still around?
I think so.
Is it still? Yeah, because
I'd assume so. The last time I saw it, though, it was like 90% reality shows.
Yeah, that's the thing is I don't think they play them much in the videos anymore. No. I used to high school and college, man. I watched MTV all the time, especially Headbangers Ball, to nobody's surprise.
Yeah.
But in high school, of course, being in a Baptist preacher's house, I had to like sneak in somewhere and turn it way down so I wouldn't get in trouble for watching MTV. And I was let me tell you how stupid I was back in like junior high and high school when when MTV first hit the cable waves. I one time just for some reason I was looking through my parents' cable bill, and it had different rates for each channel that you had back then. They would list off, this channel, this cost, and that sort of thing. I thought that they were tracking how much we were watching it. And then if there was an MTV bill, they'd know somebody was watching MTV in the house. That's how dumb I was when it comes to technology back then.
They're watching us.
They're watching. I'm like, oh, crap, I'm going to get in trouble if they find out I'm watching MTV.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. By the way, on Rumble, Rebecca says, hey, what's the story of the AT&T building selling for a pittance? Another sign of the crumbling STL. Rebecca, we are absolutely talking about that a little bit later on today. I'm glad you asked that question. So we are addressing that today. Okay, OJ is dead, just like Nicole and Ronald. We'll get to that here in a second. By the way, why aren't as many people going to Cardinals games so far? I mean, sure, it's early in the season, but the numbers are really off for them. I've got some ideas. 6:35, let's talk about this. Other news is covering this as well. Okay, real quick before we get to the O.J. Simpson thing here. Remember we were talking about that controversy in Soulard where somebody wanted to renovate an old Jimmy John's and put a weed shop in there?
Yes.
Right across the street from the charter school?
Right, and they were trying to,
It opened this week.
Block it. Oh, wow, okay.
It's open.
It became a thing.
So the kids are going to walk out of the front door literally like looking at a dispensary now.
Oh, boy.
Because at the time, in order to try to like make room for more businesses, because they're going to do exactly what this dispensary did. They're going to come in and take vacant buildings and retail spaces that people are trying to lease out or sell, and they're going to buy them and put a pretty profitable business in there. They got rid of the distance requirements in the city. Distances from schools, distances from churches, things like that. And so when this dispensary applied for that, all the permits and everything, People were like, hey, you can't do that. That's right next to a school. And they went and looked at the rules. Like, well, actually, they removed that requirement, so they couldn't stop it from going in. And they've since re-implemented the distance requirements, but the dispensary is completely legal in setting up shop there.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, and you got to feel for the people who are trying to deal with that charter school. I mean, the intention of the charter school was to take kids who probably had way too much weed smoke at home and put them in a better situation. And now here they are, basically having to walk past the supplier for their no good parents while they're trying to make a better life for themselves. So you kind of feel for them in that regard. But free enterprise is free enterprise.
Right. And the other thing that does show that you reduce regulations and business will develop.
True.
Which is a lesson that St. Louis should learn all the way around, which we'll go into more depth on.
Yes. There's more to be discussed in that regard.
Oh, yeah. All right. O.J. Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
He dead.
He gone.
Yeah, he gone. The slow speed car chase. Did you watch that 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Yes. I did. I like everybody else, riveted watching that footage from the highway, from the helicopters and everything. And I remember in college the arguments that would break out in the class.
Oh, gosh,
classroom.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it often was between white and black students.
Yes. There was somebody re-aired some footage or shared some footage on social media of the verdict being read out live, and it was showing the Oprah Winfrey audience.
Mm-hmm.
And when the verdict came through, all the black ladies jumped up and cheered, and all the white ladies kind of sat there dumbfounded.
Right.
It was very clear how divided the country was about that whole situation.
Well, I never thought that I'd play a soundbite from Cato Kalin on this show. But he was actually on Jesse Waters' Primetime last night on Fox, and here's a clip of what he had to say. I guess at the time he was the world's most famous couch surfer.
I don't know if he said a penance or not, but I really believe he is guilty, and if he made peace with God or not.
Okay, so Simpson was found not guilty in 1995.
Wow.
So 29 years ago.
Yeah.
But he was found liable in a civil trial in 1997.
Right.
And so essentially he's been living kind of hand to mouth ever since.
Yeah. There was that brief story about a little dust up about the selling of his memorabilia and the beef he had with the guy at the pawn shop or whatever shop that he'd sold it to, and at some point he pulled a gun on him and locked him in, and there was potential new charges. I think he actually went to jail for that one.
I don't remember the details, but that sounds right.
Not prison, but I think he went to jail.
Yeah, they took him downtown.
Basically. Yeah, they took him downtown and they held him overnight, kind of thing. Yeah, so his life was bizarre after the whole deal.
Okay, so I know we got to get to an information break here in a second, or information segment here in a second. But here's the thing: is the internet is flooded with just nothing but jokes.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Meme the crap out of this.
I've been laughing at some of them. Stuff from like the Naked Gun movies and everything that he was in with Leslie Nielsen. And here's the thing: is like is it just a matter of it's been so long that it's okay to laugh now?
Right.
I mean, is that it? Because we're really talking about a guy who, he's not. A guy who killed two people.
Yes.
What's he going to do? Sue me now?
No.
Because I said, and so he's found liable of killing two people. And normally it's like you got to be very stoic about that sort of thing. But we're all laughing our butts off that this guy's dead.
Yes. And I think.
And by the way, I don't care that he's dead.
I think at some point, all of these tragic stories eventually become farces, right? It's like if you go back far enough, we're making fun of the Battle of the Bulge, kind of thing, right? Because nobody here remembers the Battle of the Bulge.
Right. Well, Ghostbusters movie, they were making jokes about the Titanic.
Yeah.
Remember all the ghosts of the people walking in.
Yeah, better late than never.
Right. But exactly. And so one of the things that you say is, well, isn't that, disrespecting their memory or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, everybody on the Titanic would have been dead by now anyway.
Right.
So is that okay? But that's not the case with Nicole Simpson or Ronald Goldman.
Yeah, in terms of their family, especially.
Right.
The people who remember them.
Yeah, they would likely still be here today. But still, the fact that everybody's laughing about O.J. Simpson and they're not laughing about Nicole Kidman or Ronald Brown. They're bringing him back up. But it's interesting that the family is like, please respect our privacy at this time. And I'm like, I don't want to take it out on the family. But
the thing
you've got to understand that we don't care that your dude's dead.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's part of the deal there.
And to think that it was 30 years ago this June that the Bronco chase happened, and there are a lot of folks who have been born since then who probably have no idea what that story was all about yesterday. They may have been thinking Bronco chase. Oh, you aren't getting horses? What are you doing?
Yeah. And come to think of it, people were making jokes about O.J. Simpson a long time ago. I mean, there's a whole set about O.J. from Chris Rock's special in the late night. Well, was it late 90s or early 2000s?
I think it was early 2000s.
But yeah, I mean, we've been making fun of this whole situation for a long time.
See, and what's interesting, what you just said, Stell, is that, like, for instance, my kids are in their mid-late 20s. Okay, so they don't remember any of this. They just see whatever the memes are, and they don't remember that he was a great, I mean, truly.
Oh, yeah, Heisman Trophy winning.
And Hall of football Fame player, and a really, really good play-by-play or sports announcer. I don't think he did play-by-play. I think he did color and he did sideline reporting. But he was really good at that. And it turned out he was pretty funny as an actor, especially those Naked Gun series. I mean, he had good timing. He was a good actor.
Everybody liked him.
Yeah.
Yes, he had that it factor where you really liked the guy.
Yeah, good-looking guy, very athletic. I mean, you're right. That's a great way to put it. He had that it factor, and then now we just remember him as the guy who got away with murder.
Right. Yep.
He could run through an airport and jump over chairs.
That's right. What was it, Hertz?
I think
rental
so.
Cars or whatever the case is that he was doing endorsements for. I mean, he had it all and threw away not only the lives of the people that he was found liable for taking, because I can say that legally, and well, actually I can say whatever I want legally, but also threw away his own life because he was only in his 40s.
Oh,
late,
yeah, when
late 30s, early 40s.
When it all came crashing down,
so the majority of his life has been him being the villain to the entire country, if not the world. And that's something he brought on himself because he didn't get the consequences in the judicial system. So he had the consequences, socially and otherwise.
And if folks want to go back to yesterday's edition of Jones and Arps, when Chris Arps did his segment during the show, and it was all on O.J. because O.J. was essentially Chris's hero as a kid growing up. And so he relates the whole story and really gives a nice perspective on it. So if you want to check that out from yesterday's Jones and Arp show.
Yeah, that's a great one to see because, I mean, I was a fan of his until all this happened. I think it's one thing that devastated so many people because how could our heroes do this?
Yes, definitely a fallen hero story.
Right, exactly. By the way, Righty Wright says, seems like they have a dispensary in City Hall in St. Louis.
Wouldn't be surprised.
They'd attract more than just homeless tents if they were to do that. They'd actually make some revenue. Not a bad idea, Righty. Thanks. All right, not as many people are going to Cardinals games. I've got some ideas on that. What do you think? Let's talk about that around 6:37 here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Winds again today out of the west and northwest, sustained at 15 to 25, but gusting at times above 30. They will fade away late this afternoon and this evening. Other than that, this is a gorgeous Friday. Sunny skies, highs in the upper 60s, 50s, and clear for your evening plans in St. Louis. Down to 46 tomorrow morning for a crisp Saturday start. A big-time warm-up this weekend, though, under mostly sunny skies. 83 Saturday, 87 Sunday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chamberlain.
Pigeons, they are everywhere, and they're very good at dive bombing freshly washed cars. Wellington Environmental reminds you those droppings are more than a nuisance. They can be a major health issue, especially massive droppings on buildings or in parking garages. So who do you call to safely clean it up? You do what many hospitals, universities, public buildings already do. You call Wellington Environmental. Wellington Environmental has been dealing with all kinds of hazards for 35 years. Special people, special skills, special equipment. Wellington gets it done. So to avoid health issues ranging from pigeon droppings to mold to chemical leaks, contact Wellington. 314-644-4930. 4930. WellingtonSTL.com. Wellington Environmental. Your world cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
Freedom isn't just a word. It should be a way of life for all Missourians. Wouldn't it be wonderful to live in a state where you're free from excessive taxes, regulations, and corporate handouts, and free to send your children to the school of your choice? That's why we at the Show Me Institute put together our 2024 Missouri Blueprint, a roadmap on how the state can progress to a bright future. The blueprint covers policy ideas from a Bill of Rights for parents to government transparency, school report cards, healthcare reform, and more. Our vision is for Missouri to be a place where entrepreneurs can pursue their dreams, parents are free to direct the education of their children, and a growing economy provides opportunities for all. Critical to achieving this vision is a government that understands the value of freedom in the lives and future of our people. Check out our 2024 Missouri Blueprint, moving Missouri forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Friday at 4:20. We'll speak with Jonathan Williams of Halleck, and at 5:20, Dr. Aaron Hudlin, Chief Economist at Show Me Institute.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Female millennial Trump supporter. I listen to it like every day. Like, seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I'm telling you, this is Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy did music?
Eddie, listen, party all the time.
I don't remember this.
Gabe is so confused right now on this Flashback Friday.
Yeah. Gosh, what's going on?
I forgot how long the intro is.
Yeah, it's a very long intro.
It's pretty long.
Yeah.
Still got about another 5 seconds.
Classic, 80s vibe to it, though. I mean, that's cool. I like that. Show me something, man. Okay, it kind of sounds like he's doing a bit. He's doing Michael Jackson.
You know what I mean? This was in the top 10.
It was.
Really?
Remember, Bruce Willis had a big hit. Don Johnson had a big hit. So actors were like,
I forgot.
Throwing
Everybody
into that.
Jumped on the music train there. Just like, okay, put out an album. It's like, what do you mean put out an album? It's like, no, do it. I swear. Their agents are just going crazy.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Just put out an album. People will buy it. It's like, I guess, all right.
You know what's funny?
I don't really sing, but.
is the Bruce Willis song was called Respect Yourself.
Yeah.
And it actually had kind of a cool bluesy thing to it.
Really?
And, because it just did. I was actually listening to the 80s on 8 channel, which, sorry, I'm not supposed to tell everybody that Sirius XM exists, but, it does. I've got it. That's how I listen to a bunch of baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
And they played Bruce Willis the other day. I'm like, oh, wow, I forgot about this song.
Can he sing? Or could he sing?
It was okay.
Okay. He was able to carry the tune.
Yeah.
A little bit was spilling out of the bucket, but he was all right.
Well, but they did like what this song does. Very short, short lyrical things. Where you just got to go very short.
Short phrases. Okay.
Yeah, that's what you saw in all of those. So, because these guys aren't singers,
Right, and it's generally just like a 3-note phrase.
Right, exactly.
And another guy who had a decent career was Don Johnson.
Right.
Who actually could sing pretty well, had a couple of hit songs. So
yeah, his song that made the hit was called Heartbeat, as I recall.
Okay.
And it had more of a rock, sound to it, 80s rock, but, kind of think of Survivor as a little Survivor, but a little harder. But really it was all about MTV because these guys were back then were really good looking and they were that's what you were selling there.
Yeah, that's true.
And Don was a snappy dresser.
Yeah, he was. And the video for the Heartbeat song was like real action thing. He's in a war zone and stuff's blowing up everywhere and he's trying to save the pretty girl and all that kind of stuff. Very 80s.
The man is the brand.
Very 80s.
Very Miami Vice.
Precisely. And we just got a comment here on Rumble. It says, tell Gabe, when you think of Eddie Murphy, just think of Rick James. There you go.
That's one of his bits.
There you go.
That's one of his bits. It's
I mean,
so good.
yeah, exactly.
Him and Chappelle.
Chappelle.
They did a really great Rick James.
Oh, man. Okay, so also on Rumble here, Maddie says, as a baseball fan, I'm skipping Cardinals games because I didn't care for the extension given to the manager, Ollie Marmol, for having a losing season. But the obvious reason is I want to live to be 50. Okay. Channel 2 has this article I found this morning. Cardinals attendance is way down so far this season.
Okay.
Now, we're just talking about a couple of series. I mean, it's early in the season, but why do you think that is? It's down enough that people are taking notice. And by the way, this conversation and everything else we do, we're going to post that on our News Talk STL podcast. So please check it out and subscribe. And what you're going to see in the coming months here is exclusive podcast content that's just in the podcast world as well from News Talk STL. So please keep an eye on that for your on-demand listening. Okay, so when we talk about the drop-off in attendance for the Cardinals games, because that's been one of the constants of St. Louis. It doesn't matter what kind of turmoil you have in the region, doesn't matter what kind of political strife you have at City Hall, doesn't matter what kind of debates you have, doesn't matter what elections do. The one thing that everybody can agree on and sing kumbaya about is a Cardinals game.
Right.
So they had a great turnout for opening day, obviously.
Yeah, that's a holiday here.
Right. Since opening day, though, they have not reached 40,000 fans at any game.
Really?
And
that's rough.
You and I were both at the game in different parts of the stadium on Wednesday.
Right.
Now, those day games aren't, I mean, those can go up and down a little bit.
Yeah.
They claimed there was 33,000 people there.
There was no way.
Nowhere near that. The whole stadium kind of chuckled at that when they did the thing like, guess today's attendance, and then they got four choices, and they said 33,000 and change, and everybody was looking at each other
like, no.
Where are this 33,000 alleged people? You know?
I mean, maybe there were like 10,000 in the area that was hooded, essentially, that was from the rain.
Yeah.
You know, but the lower, almost the entire lower bowl was empty.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was only 15 or 20% full, if that much.
If that much. Gosh.
I mean, there's. I mean, you figure it. Busch Stadium holds what, 47, 48,000
when it's full.
Yeah, when it's full, something like that. And so when they said 33,000, I'm like, you're telling me this thing is 2/3 full?
Right. There's no way.
No,
it's not possible.
You're full of crap at that point. So now this story has led to, a lot of the debate on this. Is it about the team and the sports fans and the front office? And, because people are frustrated with the Cardinals not appearing to be that serious about winning at this point. But even, for instance, when Sonny Gray had his start on Tuesday, which, this is the one guy they spent a lot of money on. He's going to be the ace. He truly is one of the best pitchers in the National League.
He's the it guy.
Yeah, he's the it guy. It was the lowest night game attendance in the history of Busch 3. Other than when they shut everything down for COVID stuff.
Now, I think one of the key issues there is what you just said
there. Or at least
there.
in the last 20 years. I'm sorry, last 20 years.
Night game.
Yeah.
I think that might have been part of the issue. Night game.
Tell me why, Gabe.
Because I ain't going downtown at night anymore. So, I mean, one of the reasons why I chose the game to go to that I did was because it was a noon game. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to take off work and do this because I'd like to go to this Cardinal game. But if it was a night game, I wouldn't bother.
Yes. I think the safety issue is definitely part of it.
Yep.
And there also seems to be this undercurrent for the last couple of years where fans are saying, you know what, this management doesn't really care a whole lot as long as there are 3 million fans that show up every year because we're one of the best attended franchises in the country and always ranked number 2, 3, maybe even number 1 in total attendance for a season. And it seems as though that's kind of gained traction here over the last couple of years where folks are saying, you know what, if that's going to be their attitude, then I'm not going to go.
Okay, so if you had to break down, because I think both of those things are at play too. I mean, for instance, like I'm with Gabe. I don't go to night games anymore downtown. There have been some pretty cool concerts coming to downtown. My buddies are like, hey, you want to go? I'm like, no, I just don't go downtown anymore. And but if you had to say with the sports fan base saying, I'm not saying that they're not going to go to games, but I usually go to 10, 12 games a year. I don't think I'm going that many times. I mean, I'll get out when I can, but even in the daytime, I'm like, it's kind of a hassle. Although I parked at Ballpark Village. I mean, I had to pay a premium to do it, but I parked and walked a minute and a half to get the stadium. It was not that hard to get around because there weren't that many people there. But if you had to break down the lower attendance because people are frustrated with the team or because downtown is getting so bad, if you had to say what percentage of what would be your just completely subjective guess?
I'll be honest with you, it might be 50-50.
Yeah,
I think a lot of folks are so ticked off at the management being blasé about what goes on in the offseason. And I don't know. I'll go with 50-50. Gabe, I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, man.
Or the safety issue?
I would say more of the safety issue because, the Cardinals is such a staple, I mean, it's such a part of St. Louis culture. It feels like it would take even more than what has been going on for the sport for a bigger percentage to make that the issue is why they're not going again.
And let me say this, that type of attendance, you would never see that unless the weather was horrendous.
Right.
To have 33,000 or 30,000 at a game, no, you wouldn't see that.
Now, in the years past, though, I mean, because it was drizzling the whole game, it was kind of chilly. I think it was like, what, in the upper 50s or something like that. I mean, it was jacket or sweatshirt weather. But in years past, you'd still have a mostly full stadium.
Yes.
Even in the lousy weather. I mean, opening day was terrible weather, and the place was full. I
Mhm.
mean, people were in gloves and the beanie hats and all that kind of stuff. It was cold. And St. Louis fans are known as just some of the most loyal. I think they're loyal, but I do think there is an element of management of the team has, made it pretty clear we're not being aggressive, but you've got two Hall of Fame guys out there. Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado are Hall of Fame players. They are going to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. You've got one of the greatest third basemen of all time in Nolan Arenado. You've got Sonny Gray, like I said, who's one of the best National League, and they're still not drawing the crowds that they used to. Maybe this is going to change later on. The Cardinals have won 2 of their 4 series, so they're doing better than I think a lot of people expected. But I've got to think that the general attitudes towards the city and downtown St. Louis have to be at least a major factor in this, and nobody wants to admit that. The city doesn't want to admit that. We're all talking about it. And you see the debate, Jane Duker post, crime, defunding police, your car could get smashed into. And then people like, no, it's about the sports, and people hate John Mozeliak and that, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is.
But there are two, those are legitimate things because the sports fan is going to say, am I going to come take my family out here and spend $300, between parking and a meal and a ticket and everything like that? Knowing that the team isn't doing what we want it to do right now. But at the same time, I don't want to take my daughter or my wife or my mom out there if it's at night in St. Louis in the city because of the high crime rate that they keep trying to dismiss. And if the city were aggressively hitting it head on, instead of saying, well, the numbers are down, it's pretty safe out there, things are going great. If they weren't trying to gaslight people, and wanting people to believe something that's not true, I'd have a little more trust and say, hey, your policies still suck, but at least you're trying. But what they're trying to do is say, no, things are fine. Come on down, when they're not doing their part to keep it safe and provide basic government services.
Janice says she just missed Yachty.
Yes, yeah.
Well, yeah, because you got Pujols and Molina gone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's true. And I think the safety factor, going to a game and thinking, I wonder if my car's getting broken into while I'm sitting here. I don't want to feel that during a game.
It was broad daylight, and I made sure that I got everything out of eyesight in my car and took everything out. And I was in a secured, gate, not gated, but had the crossbars. I mean, I was in broad daylight, and I still made sure everything was out of sight there. Just because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to.
All right. Let's dump some news on you here. 314-912-1019. Got any thoughts on this? A lot of comments coming in on Rumble as well. Righty Right also pointed out Bidenomics bites Cardinal Nation. That could, don't forget that. That's a good point.
Inflation.
As well. I mean, it's just more expensive for life, and you got to make choices at some point. All right. A lot of news coming your way here. Just ahead on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. News, analysis,
I'm glad you're talking about this.
Opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Springtime in St. Louis means one thing. That's right. Golf is back, baby. Whether you're a beginner or a scratch golfer, you're sure to enjoy your golf experience at Sugar Creek Golf Course. Sugar Creek is a scenic and challenging course and well-suited to golfers of all abilities. Located in High Ridge, just 10 minutes from 270 and Gravois. At Sugar Creek Golf Course, our courteous and professional staff has one goal: to make sure your golf experience is enjoyable. To book your tee time or to learn more about the special event and banquet facilities, simply visit sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
What makes a barbecue champion? It's skill, it's swagger, it's choice meats, superior spices and sauces. But it starts with the simplest cooking fuel, Rockwood Lump Charcoal, made of 100% pure Missouri oak, hickory, and maple. It's premium charcoal that lights quick and burns hot, with a rich wood aroma that complements the natural flavors of meats. And because it's free from chemicals and impurities, it's more responsive for superior temperature control. What makes a barbecue champion? Rockwood Charcoal. Smoke the competition. Visit rockwoodcharcoal.com for tips and stores near you.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com. Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
I could name that tune in 3 notes.
You did.
Right away. Oh, that's Belinda Carlisle.
Mad about you.
Mad about you. All right. America's most famous gender-confused man is bringing his circus of mental illness to St. Louis. How do we react? What do we do about that? We're going to talk about that at 7:35. National media report about the downward spiral of the city that we were just talking about being called devastating by some city leaders as well. All right, 6:54 here on this Flashback Friday. By the way, if there's a 80s song that you're like, come on, play that one, then let us know on social media, or you can email Stell or me at newstalkstl.com as well. Okay, all right, if you take just a deep breath around St. Louis, you're going to be reminded that marijuana dispensaries are plentiful around here, and it's legal.
Got plenty of them.
Just go, oh, yeah, that's right. That's legal.
It's in the air.
Among the newest ones is Kind Goods on South Broadway. That is now open despite complaints about the location where they put it in that former Jimmy John's there in Soulard.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically right across the street from the Life Academy Charter School. There's the rub. The school and some area residents complained about that location of the pot shop.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, the city did not have any distance requirements to keep them away from schools, and they have reinstated those from schools and churches.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
weed is in the air. Everywhere you turn around.
And people do love it. So some people are like, it's the same thing. All right. Okay. Next Friday is the deadline for Congress to extend FISA, which is that government spying program that the FBI says is crucial to detecting and preventing threats from the homeland. They're basically saying, don't hamstring us with this old Constitution stuff. Lawmakers on both sides want to see some changes, though, in addition to requiring, warrants for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They want to reduce the chances of government just kind of willy-nilly spying on everyday Americans. Congressman Russell Fry out of South Carolina was on Fox Business talking about that.
There are exigent circumstance exceptions within the warrant requirement. There are things when you need to get a speedy warrant that you can do, but you can do this in a lawful way that adheres to the Constitution and puts these guardrails on these agencies that have abused this for years.
Okay, we had a really good conversation with Paul Curtman about that a little bit earlier. Check out our podcast here in a few hours to get more perspective on that. City and business leaders are responding to a Wall Street Journal report, and that's one of those rare cases, Gabe, where a media report is having a big effect. KMOV anchor Samantha Jones kind of summarizes the article.
Rundown buildings and vacant high-rises. It is no secret downtown St. Louis has seen better days. Well, now it's getting national attention for being stuck in a so-called doom loop. The Wall Street Journal article calls St. Louis a real estate nightmare and a cautionary tale for other cities.
All right, starting at 8:05, we're going to have a pretty in-depth conversation about that with our friends from the St. Louis City Republican Party who are trying to, fix it. By the way, O.J. Simpson is dead at the age of 76. His family says that he died of cancer and is asking for respect for their privacy at this time. Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman were not available for comment.
And the memes continue.
Yes, they do. All right. Blues are holding on to their still unlikely but alive playoff hopes. They host Carolina tonight at the Enterprise Center in the second-to-last home game of the season. Puck drops at 7. And if you don't want to go downtown, you can watch a game on NHL Net. Cardinals start another road trip tonight. They play the Diamondbacks in the desert at 8:40. Bally Sports has that game. Lars Newbar, now off the designated list. He is expected to play tonight.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here. I'm here with Stewie. Stewie, tell us all about the bagel loan and how people can use it to compete with the competition.
You know what, Tim? Inventory is low. You're going to have to be aggressive out there. We're going to give you the bagel loan. Bagel loan means no closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees. It's the big bagel. Take that money you would save, add it to your bid. You'll beat the competition hands down. Do it now and do it in 12 days.
Close in less than 12 days. Call Stewie 314-324-4440 or better yet, just Google the bagel loan.
MLS number 226715. Missouri Wild Alchemy is a local and family-owned business dedicated to providing consumers with high-quality cannabis and education. They strive to make customers feel comfortable and to help curtail the stigma of cannabis use by having a professional and well-educated staff. They're proud to carry products from several Missouri cultivators and manufacturers. Missouri Wild Alchemy, now serving recreational customers 21 and above, as well as patients. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit MissouriWild.com. That's MissouriWild.com.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peter's did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. There are wars and rumors of wars, and in that latter category,
Israel's military says it's prepared to defend the country and strike back if Iran decides to retaliate for this month's deadly airstrike on the Iranian consulate in Syria. Tehran holds Israel responsible for the attack, which the U.S. military believes Israel carried out. Israel has not commented on it. The increased tensions have sparked concern that Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza could spill over into the rest of the Middle East. The war has pushed Gaza into a humanitarian crisis, leaving more than 1 million people on the brink of starvation. I'm Charles Dilladesma.
President Biden touting an ironclad U.S. commitment to the defense of Japan and the Philippines in light of increasingly aggressive military action by China in the South China Sea and beyond. The Biden campaign hoping to capitalize on Arizona's controversial new abortion ruling.
Abortion was already a campaign issue this year as states grapple with the fallout from the overturning of Roe v. Wade. But Arizona's Supreme Court added fuel to the debate this week when it upheld an 1864 law that criminalizes nearly all abortions. Democrats immediately pounced on the ruling and blamed Donald Trump. He responded by saying the law goes too far. Vice President Harris visits Arizona today to make the case for abortion access. Greg Clugston, Washington.
There are more concerns being raised about Russian meddling in elections, but not in this country. The Belgian Prime Minister announcing an investigation of suspected Russian interference in Europe-wide elections in June. There are allegations of a network operating in several European countries trying to undermine support for Ukraine and the war with Russia. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures are down 50 points, NASDAQ futures 64 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
It has been confirmed. Those brave Americans who are trying to preserve free speech continue to be censored, shadow banned, or silenced. Wealth Protection Research is on a mission to share the liberating ideas of some of America's brightest and most free thinkers. People like Jim Rickards and Porter Stansberry, whose ideas are putting financial control back in the hands of everyday people, helping them protect their money against a government that seems intent on destroying it. Text TRUTH to 76626 to find out more. As this election moves forward, we just released a report that reveals our 3 favorite ideas for protecting and growing your wealth during the 2024 election. These ideas are especially critical if you have an IRA or 401k. Text TRUTH to 76626. Discover ideas that are so simple and actionable they might save your retirement. Text TRUTH to 76626 now for your free report. That's TRUTH to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Busy winds again today out of the west and northwest, sustained at 15 to 25, but gusting at times above 30. They will fade away late this afternoon and this evening. Other than that, this is a gorgeous Friday. Sunny skies, highs in the upper 60s, 50s, and clear for your evening plans in St. Louis. Down to 46 tomorrow morning for a crisp Saturday start. A big-time warm-up this weekend, though, under mostly sunny skies. 83 Saturday, 87 Sunday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. Give Benjamin Schaefer a call at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Tim Jones here. I want to tell you about an awesome business located in my hometown of Eureka, Missouri that we use all the time for our exterior homestead needs. Eureka Contracting and Roofing. Veteran owned. They will come to you and schedule a one-on-one consultation. They know that replacing your roof or anything on the exterior of your home is always a really big deal, which is why they've always got a no pressure, no obligation inspection and evaluation. Fully licensed and insured. Nothing but the highest quality of materials made right here in the USA. 636-938-ROOF. 636-938-ROOF. EurekaContracting.com. That's EurekaContracting.com.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare ya!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
It's Friday!
Getting a lot of perspectives on the question being brought up. Why is Cardinals attendance down so much? So I think around 7:20. Let's pick that back up again.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of different things are coming into play there. And the Cardinals themselves absolutely are part of it. But there's a lot of people saying, hey, you didn't think about this. You didn't mention this. I'm going to start bringing those back up. So 7:20. Cardinals attendance way down already. Yes, they've only been in town for, a week. They've been on the road, but the numbers are way off.
Well, usually people have already bought these tickets. They've already planned on it. If the season starts out with them on the road, everybody's ready for when they come home, right? But not this time.
No, not so much. So let's go over that around 7:20 or so, because it affects it's not just about the Cardinals. It's about all of downtown St. Louis, because you've got people in City Hall are saying, if we don't have a vibrant downtown St. Louis, the entire St. Louis region's going to fail. I don't believe that anymore.
Not really. No.
I just don't. I think that downtown St. Louis could completely hollow out and other parts of the region could succeed. I don't think that St. Charles's and St. Charles County's success depends on a vibrant downtown St. Louis. And that's one of the dangers for St. Louis and the city of St. Louis as well. So 7:20, let's pick that up. All right, don't forget, we've got the best live and local conservative talk 7 days a week. The Next Gen Show with Danny Define. That's Sunday evening, 10 o'clock. Matter of fact, I think we need to get Danny back on next week.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe bring him in on Friday or something like
we
that.
should.
To do that. So, Danny, that was
see
a lot of fun.
See what's percolating in his old
That's right.
noggin
his
there.
noggin there.
Yeah, have him come in for a full hour, maybe. Just sit in here with us for an hour.
I'm good with that.
The full hour.
That's right. That just means it's less I have to write. I mean, I really want his perspective on this from the Next Gen.
Wait a minute.
It has nothing to do with me wanting to sleep in a little bit. All right. Okay. Yesterday we talked about the situation with the schools, and I found one of those stories that there's this source that I get that kind of finds funny stuff for us sometimes.
Yeah.
And I kind of laughed when I saw it. I'm like, oh, that's good. I'll put that in. And then I kept reading it. And I went, wait a minute. That's a pretty big picture thing there. And it was over half of Americans rely more on Google searches for everyday life stuff than we do our own actual formal education, be it K through 12 or higher ed or whatever the case is. And that really kind of brought us into this robust discussion about that. Well, I got to thinking after the show, guys, and 314-912-1019. I'd love to know what you think. I got to thinking, okay, you take all the ideological stuff aside,
right?
Let's just, for the sake of this one, we know it's bad, it's terrible. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. Even if every public school in this country got rid of DEI, got rid of BLM, got rid of LGBTQIA, 1, 2, 3, 4, EIEIO, whatever. If they got rid of all that stuff and just did the job of educating in the basics, they are still failing.
Yes.
Delivering. And so if they got back to basic, okay, we should have, progressively detailed math as you get older for a kid. That should be universal.
Sure.
You should have, the fact that we should be teaching writing, reading. My wife is a university professor. She is still amazed at how they just have to assume college freshmen don't know how to write.
Yeah.
Basic grammar.
Yeah. Just putting together a few sentences into a paragraph.
Right.
That's cogent.
Right. So the basic academic skills. But then I got to thinking, what would be in 2024 and beyond, what are the things that schools should be either teaching universally or offering as electives and at that K through 12 level, probably junior high and high school, that should be standard as far as preparing somebody for life and life skills? Because the K through 12 system in many parts of the country is designed to direct kids one particular way.
Right.
The high school I went to in Camp Point, Illinois, just outside Quincy, they basically, those of us who would go on to college, we did take some, not AP, but more advanced classes. I took all my college math in high school, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And but others, they were really just kind of preparing you to get your diploma so you could go work at your parents' farm or your parents' business there in town. And that's really all it was.
Right.
Now, I don't know what it's like now. Hopefully they're better than that now.
Mm-hmm.
But other schools are preparing you to become a good factory worker. Other schools are prep schools. They want everybody to go to college. But when you look at what should be in the system, now, to me, I'm not taking away my support for school choice so parents can find what they want, but what should we be teaching? What should we be at least offering to kids at that level that may or may not be there now?
You know, in general, I've always looked at how we used to have the master apprentice sort of setups, prior to the formalization of schools, and I think on some level we need to get back to those ideas. I'm not exactly sure how to implement them or where they need to start, but people start showing aptitudes for certain things relatively early on. You know, when your middle school kid is going to display aptitudes in certain areas. It's just true. That's around when people start developing their likes and dislikes as to the tasks that they have to perform. So gearing education towards giving kids opportunities to explore career paths that might interest them as early as middle school, I think should be part of the way we structure our schools.
With flexibility to change your mind.
Well,
later,
obviously,
sure,
yeah. I mean, just allow them the possibility of the exploration. That's really the thing. You can't say, okay, you came through in this test and here's the aptitude test and you scored this much on reading, writing, whatever. You're going to be a teacher, and now we're going to throw you onto the teacher path. No, I don't want that. But at the very least, you need to show kids what working is going to be like, and here are the types of things that a career wouldn't be required for that career path.
So there are countries that do exactly what you described.
Oh, yeah.
The former Soviet Union, North Korea, China, they literally do that.
Oh, yeah, they just pick.
You have this aptitude for this. This is where you will serve the society.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
And we don't want that.
I will argue that there are two related things that should at least be offered in the high school level.
Okay.
If not, created as a, what do they call it? The core classes or the, I hate the word mandatory, but what is it like you have to take? Required courses. Basic economics and personal finance.
Yes.
And I know that there are some high schools that offer personal finance, but I mean a basic economics course. What is supply? What is demand? What is what is a and then personal finance would do what's a mutual fund, what's a stock, what does the stock market mean? All of these things that affect our lives. What is a retirement plan? What does it mean when inflation is going? I mean, all of these things. So a basic economics, which I think would counteract some of the leftist policy stuff if people understood basic economics. But two, the personal finance. And you know what? I don't care if it's a matter of, here's a Dave Ramsey book. You're reading this semester, something like that, But I think that's something that should be included in addition to the others.
Yeah, and I think it should be practicum focused. So, instead of just economic theory, because that type of stuff, will dry up a kid's brain like a raisin.
If you do it wrong.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like if you go straight with theory, I'm saying put them in the situation where, your personal finance and larger economic factors are made real to them. So put them in a situation where, okay, you have to pick a job. You have to pick a location where you're going to live. And here's the salary. Here's the market for those things. Here's how you have to live. And here's what, as the teacher, you're going to run the economy of the classroom. And here's all the interrelated factors. And when I make a tax change, here's how it affects you directly. Here's how it affects the wider classroom. Here's how it affects the other classrooms.
Kind of like a version of the old Sim City.
It would be It would be Sim City. I mean, you could turn it into a game. Kids could win prize. I mean, when you make these things real life, then kids understand it. It's one thing to say, okay, here's what pi. Here's how pi works, and here's all the divisions of it, and here's all the angles. Give them a pizza, and let them figure it out. You know what I mean? There are practical ways to apply these things, and I think we've gone so far into you got to get the theory right, and you got to fill in the bubble in the Scantron test, and we've gotten away from the practical application of things so far that kids don't understand why they need to learn the thing. until it's too late. Then they don't know how to apply the learning they should have gotten into real life.
Another thing was just posted here. Righties, man, he's got a lot to say today. I love it. Righty says a Constitution class should be mandatory. And Ed says, when I was in high school, freshmen had to take the civics class, had to pass a Constitution test to pass the class. And
Yes.
there are, depending on the state, there are some requirements of civics, but civics has been thrown out. And that's a basic, here's what your city government does. Here's what your state government does. Here is what the three branches of the federal government does. And Constitution should be in there as well. So, and then the why. Now, the one caveat I would say to that is that if you required a civics or a Constitution class with today's public school teachers,
oh gosh,
and today's public school
it would be
administration,
so bad.
They would basically said, here's what the dead white slave owners had to say.
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
let me tell you something, Gabe. If you were alive back then, this is what would happen. I mean, that's how they would present it. But a good, objective, historically accurate one. I agree, guys. I completely agree on that.
Well, and that's where the reading and writing, being applied to historical knowledge, civic knowledge, I think that's where that would be best served. Okay, well, write an essay describing, the discussions around the First Amendment at Continental Congress. You got history, reading, and writing all kind of meshed into one. Make it practical, and don't teach history like it's a set of dates and people, as opposed to a freaking story, because these stories are awesome. Historical dramas can make so much money in the movie theater. Kids will watch a podcast about some event that happened in the 60s, and they will sit there and listen for 3.5 hours. But if you try to present that the way teachers do in a 40-minute class, they're asleep in the first 15.
Yeah, so yes.
Right?
I hated history class in high school. Then I picked up a history, like a book about history, like when I was in college. I'm now a history nerd.
Yes.
I can't read enough about it.
It happens so often to people.
Oh, we teach history so wrong, but you learn to apply the lessons from that in so many other areas.
Yeah.
Finance, economics, and all this sort of thing. I'm not saying the schools should take a position on the First or the Second or the Fourth or the 10th Amendments, but I'm saying is kids need to understand how our system is set up.
Yeah.
But they don't do that.
No.
And we have the chaos and we have the indoctrination battles instead. All right, St. Louis Cardinals attendance way down already this year. You could say it's been a little bit chilly. The numbers are down beyond that.
Yeah.
Is it the Cardinals? Is it the economy? Is it the safety issues down? What is it? And here's my question, everybody, are you planning to go to games or as many games as normal this year?
You say chilly, it's as though the fans' response has been chilly.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
Cold shoulder, baby. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information? You want to take the place of what I
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show.
So OJ's dead. We'll relive some of that crazy circus trial with our very own counselor, Susie Moore. By the way, they tried to put OJ in a casket, but he didn't fit. Friday at 10:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
This is Rob with St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, and we'd like to let you know you don't have to maintain the grout in your home anymore. The grout on the floor or in your shower or bath area. How would you like zero grout in your bathroom? At St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, we focus on grout-free options for your bathroom. If you hate cleaning grout, St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, 314-477-6476. 314-477-6476. Give us a call.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
Hello, morning people. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here.
Thanks for listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL. And don't forget to join us today at 2 for Colombo and Katie.
See you then.
Lightning smokes on the hill rise. Brought the man with the warning.
Oh, wow.
A band that was overlooked a lot during the
Yeah.
years that they released stuff. April Wine.
Oh, and that was a great band too. Man, I forgot about it. I had their tapes. tapes back in the day.
Love it.
Was this a request?
Yes, it was.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sign of the Gypsy Queen.
Yeah.
They were a Canadian band, weren't they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I put
Janet
them
would've
together
known
with
that.
Chilliwack and some of those other Canadian bands. The Guess Who.
Yeah.
All those good Canadian bands. Lighthouse.
Oh, Lighthouse was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
April Wine was. I haven't heard of April Wine in a long time.
I got a text just before you said it. It's like, they might be a Canadian band, too.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah, Janet knows all the Canadians.
I'm sure yeah.
Way to go, Janet.
Yeah.
All right, 7:22 right now. By the way, still ahead here. Time 7:22. Yeah, America's most, let's say, infamous gender-confused man coming to St. Louis. We told you about that earlier this week. Should there be a response to his lecture on how to be a woman or whatever the hell he's going to talk about? If so, what should that be?
What should we do?
The Young America's Foundation is taking note of this because, remember, their event on SLU's campus was canceled because we can't talk about that, at least not from that perspective. But they'll spend tens of thousands of dollars to bring this freak in to tell people. By the way, somebody played a clip of Dylan Mulvaney's song. Remember, he released a song.
Yeah, and the video kind of looks like a weird, Barbie movie set thing.
And it was one of those reaction videos to the conservative gal was responding to it. I went out of my way to not listen to Dylan Mulvaney do a song.
Yeah,
but I listened to the clip, and it was all about being a woman, and it was pill popping, shopping, being a slut, doing the walk of shame.
Wow.
And that's what he was singing about what it's like to be a woman. So that's apparently what he thinks it is. But he comes from a very perverse niche of society.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that still here, just ahead here. All right. I found this interesting article on Channel 2's website, and it kind of backs up what Gabe and I saw the other day as well. Cardinals games, people will go through hell or high water to go to Cardinals games in St. Louis. That's the way it's been forever. It's like, oh, yeah, downtown's dangerous, but I'll go to a Cardinals game.
It was like that for a while.
I won't get on the Metro. It's dangerous, but if it gets me to the Cardinals game, I'll risk my life.
Right, yeah. They think safety in numbers, so it's like all the people in red on the train, maybe we'll be okay.
Yeah, my wife makes the same argument. She's like, well, it's okay to go to a Cardinals game on there. I'm like, I'm not doing it. And then, of course, we had that debate a few years ago, and then literally like within 48 hours, somebody got stabbed on the Metro. I'm like, you're not riding the Metro anymore. And so here's what we're seeing already. Channel 2 pointed out that other than opening day, which obviously that's going to be because we make opening day most of the time in the daytime.
Yeah.
But opening day is pretty much sold out, 46, 47, 48,000, whatever it is.
Always 3:15 in the afternoon.
Yep. And since then, the Cardinals have not had an attendance of at least 40,000.
They're not pulling the numbers they used to.
And that is way below normal, even for this time of year where it's a little rainier, it's not as hot. And
you got kids in school, et cetera.
Even then, they would pull 40+ thousand. And so people are debating why. Well, I thought of a couple things, but people are the News Talk STL family on Rumble are pointing out other things. We had one comment that just said, "Hey, remember the economy sucks."
Yeah,
Bidenomics.
Like, oh yeah, guys. He's like, that's right.
Yeah, if you're having trouble affording groceries and gas is a lot more expensive, you might not be able to go to as many games to see the Cardinals.
And also, that inflation is hitting Cardinals prices, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's the price of food, the price of parking, the price of the tickets, right? So in addition to your normal staple going up, now those things have gone up in cost. So you got to make some economic decisions. And considering, I mean, the percentage differences between now and, let's say, 2019, like they were talking about, food is up 40%.
Oh, yeah.
That people did not get a sizable raise enough in the last 5 years to make up that 40% in food. So they're making choices.
That's a decision we had to make with our Billiken basketball tickets last year. We looked at the bottom line and decided there's just no way we can afford it anymore.
Yeah.
And we've had tickets since the mid-'80s.
Oh, my gosh.
The Rich Grauer days with Anthony Bonner, Jeff Luchtefeld, all those guys back then, and had them all the way up until last year. And finally we decided, no.
Okay, well, let's also put this in more perspective. You and your wife are both SLU grads.
True.
Too. So there's even more of a connection. So when somebody says, okay, Stell, you made a financial decision, well, it's more than that for you all.
It hurt. And I played some ball there, too.
Yeah.
So from that aspect, it bothered me.
You were a Billiken. You were on SLU's basketball team back in your college days.
Yeah, for a couple of years at the beginning. And it hurt to do it, but it was something that we had to do.
Got to make choices.
And I can see Cardinal fans having to make the same decision.
Man. Yeah, so obviously the debate has come up too as well. Well, the team, people are mad at the management of the team.
Right, yeah.
I get it. I am not arguing that point. But we've been mad at the management before, and we still showed up to the games. We just booed the management at the games after we bought the ticket. And between trips up to the concession stand.
You're very right.
But there are people who are frustrated because, Cardinals fans are saying, hey, we haven't had a World Series in a while.
Right.
We expect one a decade. I mean, we've got the second most world championships in history behind only the New York Yankees. And so there's that. There's obviously the economics aspect of it. But at the same time, I think it's fair to say the problems, especially in downtown St. Louis, the danger, the crime, the city hall knowingly not investing in public safety, that has to be part of this as well. I've got to think that that's part of this as well.
Because when you're hit with front page stories and top of the news stories on local newscasts that revolve around crime issues downtown, whether it's assaults or whether it's car break-ins, et cetera, shootings, the whole gamut, that's going to make you think twice about going to a ball game.
Yeah.
I've actually got to wonder if the car break-ins scare off people even more so than the shootings or the murders.
That could be.
You think, well, it's safety in numbers walking from the parking garage to the stadium, but what's going to happen in my car in the meantime?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, I think that feeling, that uneasy feeling that people get when they're walking around downtown and it's dark, and the statistics, people who've had issues and things like that. It becomes not worth it. It's like, you know what? I enjoyed the game, but the walk to and from the stadium was not fun.
Right. Yeah, and so that absolutely is a factor as much as the city wants to say it's not. By the way, at 8:05, Mary Theresa McLean from the St. Louis City Republicans, she's going to be in, and we're going to talk about this because in addition to all of this, we just had that Wall Street Journal article that got published this week that focuses and puts a national spotlight on St. Louis City's downtown problems. I mean, it's a long feature article. They sent the reporter out, they sent photographers out, and they highlighted for the entire country downtown St. Louis is falling apart. It literally is written as almost a warning to other cities to say, don't be like St. Louis City.
This story is very fascinating, and it's well written, too.
Yeah, it is.
I'll give them that.
Yeah, so Mary Theresa McLean's going to be on. We're going to talk about that reaction as well. All right. Well, Dylan Mulvaney, worst Bud Light salesman in history.
Our favorite weirdo.
Yeah, he's coming to St. Louis. We mentioned this earlier this week. Young America's Foundation is taking particular notice of this, and we're going to talk to Nick Baker from YAF just ahead. What should the response be to later this month when Dylan Mulvaney comes to deliver a lecture on the great issues of the day and his speaking series on what it's like for him to be a woman, which I know is going to be part of this as well. 314-912-1019, or keep those comments, keep those discussions going on social media. We'll work in as many of your comments and questions as we can. But we'll talk to YAF here at about 7:34 on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Winds again today out of the west and northwest, sustained at 15 to 25, but gusting at times above 30. They will fade away late this afternoon and this evening. Other than that, this is a gorgeous Friday. Sunny skies, highs in the upper 60s, 50s, and clear for your evening plans in St. Louis. Down to 46 tomorrow morning for a crisp Saturday start. A big-time warm-up this weekend, though, under mostly sunny skies. 83 Saturday, 87 Sunday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
NPR senior business editor Erie Berliner has pulled back the curtain, exposing what happens really at National Public Radio. He points out that for many people, they felt that NPR was a national trust. Now, you need to keep in mind that NPR claims less than 1% of its $300 million annual budget comes from you, the taxpayer. That's what they claim. But then they also get 10% from colleges, universities, which are publicly funded, another 5% federal, state, and local governments, and then the money they get for their affiliates, they end up getting 23%, not 1%. And PBS gets even more. They get a total of 39% of public taxpayer dollars, one way or the other. Well, Uri Berliner in his recent point had made, you see now we live in a very polarized media landscape. They, speaking about NPR, established a beachhead on the far left. We've all suspected it, and we've seen evidence of it, but now for an insider to do it and state it that way? Response from NPR? We believe we have inclusion among our staff, and we're good and solid. No, I think based upon what he revealed, you're a propaganda machine paid for by taxpayers.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
This is moving season for many homeowners and businesses. Contact my sponsor, McGuire Moving and Storage. McGuire will come to you, give you a free, honest appraisal. McGuire, fully licensed, insured, local or long distance, with climate-controlled storage. McGuire Moving and Storage has the Larry Connors USA seal of approval. 314-241-0600. 241-0600. McGuireMoving.com.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
Pigeons, they are everywhere, and they're very good at dive bombing freshly washed cars. Wellington Environmental reminds you, those droppings are more than a nuisance. They can be a major health issue. especially massive droppings on buildings or in parking garages. So who do you call to safely clean it up? You do what many hospitals, universities, public buildings already do. You call Wellington Environmental. Wellington Environmental has been dealing with all kinds of hazards for 35 years. Special people, special skills, special equipment. Wellington gets it done. So to avoid health issues ranging from pigeon droppings to mold to chemical leaks, contact Wellington. 314-644-4930. 644-4930. WellingtonSTL.com. Wellington Environmental. Your world cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I don't know where I would get the truth if it weren't for you.
Live and local.
Welcome to the People's Republic of America stand. Here comes another roller coaster, another circus.
This is News Talk STL.
That was all she
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Flashback Friday, little firehouse here with the, now I have to say, the late C.J. Snare singing.
Sad note.
Passed away of colon cancer not even a week ago. He caught everybody in kind of the rock community off guard.
Caught me off guard, definitely.
He was only 64 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, got the Flashback Friday bump music request you want to hear? Let us know. We're watching the social media. We can take in the request for next week. And also, of course, you can email Stell at newstalkstl.com or Mike at newstalkstl.com. And, of course, the full playlist from today is going to be up on the Mike's Morning Music page on newstalkstl.com. 7:37 right now. Got Gabe here, got Stell here, of course. So here we go. After the debacle of the Bud Light thing, we thought we'd maybe heard the last of Dylan Mulvaney, at least as him being treated as a serious topic of discussion.
Right, because he cost a company like billions of dollars.
Right. And that was a market response.
Yes.
You know, it's funny how some media says, and this conservative boycott of Bud Light. I'm like, not really. I mean, it wasn't like somebody was like leading a boycott. It was just people went, all right, I'm done. You know, I'm going to try this other thing. And it was really a market response to this. Well, St. Louis University has tens of thousands of dollars to bring this guy in to come in and give a lecture on what they're calling their Great Issues series or something like that. And Dylan Mulvaney gets paid to go to college campuses and talk about what it's like to be a woman.
It's so crazy.
I wish I were making this up.
Mm-hmm.
And if we were doing like a podcast, I'd be using completely different adjectives.
Yes. Let's get this dude to talk to these 18, 19, 20-year-old women about being a woman.
Right. And so
Nick Baker, sounds right.
Yeah, Nick Baker's with the Young Americas Foundation, and obviously they're taking a very different level of notice of what's going on here, Nick, because there was another conversation that was supposed to happen regarding all of these great issues on SLU's campus, and they wouldn't have any of that, even though they weren't paying for that one, and they're spending God knows how much on this one right here. So let's set the stage, Nick. First of all, thanks for being on the show. But let's set the stage here. The actual location where this Mulvaney dude is going to be pretending is actually where another conversation was supposed to take place, a year or two ago?
Yeah, thanks, guys, for having me on. So as you mentioned, so this will be taking place in the Bush Student Center, which ironically, of course, is owned by the same company that Dylan Mulvaney ultimately tanked their stock and everything. So I found that a bit odd. And then also this room within that center is a ballroom because I actually was a student there. And so I was trying to work with Young America's Foundation to bring Matt Walsh to come and speak on the pro-life movement, as well as his topic of what is a woman, which at the time was just starting to gain traction. And SLU told us no. Ultimately, they used their COVID powers, which they had at the time in 2021, to incrementally add so many precautions. Like Matt was going to need to wear a mask. It had to be N95. They were going to do social distancing. All the audience had to wear a mask. So we're going to limit this room that seated, I believe, either 500 or 800 to only 200 people. And just a few weeks prior to that, they had allowed Steve from Blue's Clues to come in, and of course he's a Hollywood liberal, to come in and give a talk, and he was allowed to do that without a mask. People were able to not wear masks themselves, and so it was a clear-cut case of discrimination. And so ultimately they added so many precautions that we had to scramble to find another location. So we reserved the off-campus church, which is technically affiliated with SLU, but it didn't have to follow those same COVID rules. And then with 24 hours notice, the pastor of the church told us Matt is too hateful. And so we were left with very short notice to ultimately find the Coronado across from campus was able to take us.
Good morning, Nick. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So, what eventually became of that whole situation? Was there anybody ever kind of called out on the carpet for the unfair treatment, or did it just kind of get swept under the rug by the college administration?
Well, or from what else we've seen from SLU, and my wife is an alum there from there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did they just continue to arrogantly say, "That's what we said. We're just doubling down on it"? Because that's I've seen that pattern with SLU too.
Yeah, unfortunately, they just doubled down. There was no apology, and they've only continued to grow worse in terms of bringing these very one-sided speakers without ever making any effort to bring conservative speakers unless the conservative students themselves try and make that effort.
And Nick, let me ask you now. Let's talk about this Dylan Mulvaney thing that he's coming in there. Who knows how much money they're spending? I know you pointed out that Mulvaney's going rate was $40,000 last year for appearances. Yeah. So let's assume it's in that neighborhood, maybe even more by now. I don't know, maybe less because of how bad the market responded to him. But the bottom line is they're spending a lot of money to bring him in and promote him on campus. They're requiring student or university IDs to get in, so they're trying to insulate it from people who may come in and disagree. Mm-hmm. What should the response to this look like? I mean, when you at working with YAF and the others on campus and off, what should the response be, if any, to make sure that we're either going to force a conversation, or is the best thing to do ignore it, or what's the line of thinking on how do we deal with this?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and something that we're still in talks of trying to work with the students there to see what we want to do in response exactly, because I think that if we take the left tactics, which are to go out and disrupt Mulvaney and just act like fools, that's definitely not something that we would want to do. That, of course, even as crazy as he is and as ridiculous as the situation is that a Catholic university is hosting Mulvaney, Mulvaney still has the right to expression, and so I think we should allow that. And we also just don't want to disrupt the event. So I can't get into too many details because it's still a process going on as we speak, but we are considering options for a follow-up program with someone who will be able to effectively and very convincingly counter the crazy points on women's empowerment that this man will be speaking on. And we are exploring some options for going on campus and asking students questions to see if they believe that this should be going on. That was something we did back at Penn State, which is the last school that Mulvaney spoke at. And really, most students were not even aware of who he was. We had one student on that video, which I encourage people to watch on our YouTube channel, yaf.org, youtube.org.com/theaftv. And there was one student who was dressed as a furry, a wolf, and not even he knew who Dylan Mulvaney was. So much to the point you brought up earlier, it's very well a possibility that Mulvaney's rate could have gone down, but who knows?
Yeah. And along those lines, Nick, and we just got a couple minutes left. I know Stella has a question. I was just corrected on the Rumble chat box that says, hey, don't misgender it. It wasn't a boycott. It was a she, her, they, them caught. Just to let you know. Stell, what do you got?
Hey, good morning, Nick. Stel Ponticus here. My wife and I, by the way, are both SLU graduates, class of 74, class of 75 for us. And then she got her master's and doctorate there also in the 80s. Bush Memorial Center, where the event is scheduled to be at, which is at Grand and Laclede on campus. It's a nice facility, but how big is that ballroom? It doesn't seem like it's that big for an event like this. And my other follow-up question is, what's the reaction been on campus so far?
Yeah, so the ballroom, I believe, is either 500 or 800 seaters.
Okay.
Seats within. And so I think that Mulvaney will probably have a tough time filling that. I know at Penn State, they had him in a room for 1,000 and only about 100 or even could have been less. I think maybe 80 showed up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was embarrassing for them. And, yeah, the reaction on campus, it sounds like students are, like even those on the left, are surprised because what kind of actual biological female would like to have this man who's been identifying as a woman for like 5 seconds to come in and tell them what female empowerment is. So it's definitely a very mixed reaction. Of course, there's the radicals on campus who are very happy about this. But then I think those students who are in the middle, even left of center, we even have a chance at convincing them that leftism has gone way too far.
All right, Nick Baker from the Young Americas Foundation website. We tagged you on social media already. Where can people learn more about whatever it is you're going to decide to do or just to follow up on this? How do they get in touch?
Yeah, you can definitely check out our website, yaf.org. We have student conferences, including one coming up for students who are in high school or college who attend a Catholic university that's fallen to the woke left. That will be coming up in 2 weekends. So I highly encourage anyone who knows of students who may be interested to send their students that way, and definitely to get involved with our programs and watch all of our lectures on our YouTube channel.
All right, Nick, good talking to you. Thanks so much. Appreciate the update.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
All right, 314-912-1019. Hey, coming up on 750, and it's Friday, Gabe.
Not today, Satan.
Just ahead right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Kickstart your spring with spring into green savings on a John Deere compact tractor at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. For a limited time, we have 0% financing for 84 months with zero down on select models. Plus, when you purchase an in-stock model year 23 compact tractor, you'll save up to an additional $2,500. Take home the tractor of your dreams today. Visit snpartners.com for more information.
Offer valid through 4/26/2024. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Does your life insurance plan include living benefits, hearing, diabetic supplies, teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones? Larry Connors here. I suggest you call Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Call 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Larry Connors, USA.
Hunter Biden and his artwork.
Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my works. What a coward.
The art gallerist apparently had claimed that one of Hunter's financial backers purchased most of his paintings for $875,000. What's this? Oh, it's a scribble, but really it's a man walking into his future and seeing his past at the same time.
You are the epitome of white privilege.
They were laundering money, and he had all of his friends coming forward to help him out.
Larry Connors, weeknights at 6 on News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
It's being called devastating for St. Louis, so we're talking about a Wall Street Journal article. When was the last time a media report was devastating and actually had a big impact? Will City Hall listen to the reaction to this? I don't know, but our friend Mary Theresa McLean from the St. Louis City Republican is going to be in with us to talk about that devastating article and what needs to change at 8:05. But right now it's 7:51 on this Flashback Friday, which means
it's the weird, the wacky, and the worrisome. These are the stories that make you sick.
Because the devil.
Oh, hell no. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening.
Devil.
There's only way to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Amen.
As the old saying goes, every dog has her day. Well, the day came at a Chinese mall when the dogs at a pet cafe got loose. All 100 of them.
Oh,
no,
wow.
Whoa.
No.
Where are you going?
Is that lunch on the go? No, I'm sorry. No, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, they weren't on the menu. They work there.
No doggy, doggy bags.
No doggy bags. They work there. Workers at the cafe in Shenzhen said the Huskies were hyperstimulated by a visit from the owner who had returned after an extended absence. So when someone left the door open, so that's the person that let the dogs out. The 100
now we know.
Now we know. The 100 energized doggos ran out into the shopping mall, surprising and delighting shoppers.
Yeah. You said they were Huskies?
Huskies.
Oh, those
100 Huskies. And
wow.
There's a video. They're so adorable.
Huskies are
the
awesome.
little faces, and they're just so happy.
I love Huskies.
Now, I'm sure someone told them to stay, but the answer was apparently not today, Satan. So between the workers and helpful passersby, the dogs were finally rounded up after a prolonged indoor chase.
Oh, man. And fur everywhere.
Oh, gosh. And actually, the comments on the video that they shared online were like, hey, if they made that an event, they would get more shoppers.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a little dog run. Just have them run.
Especially Huskies. Huskies are so cool.
Oh, slipping and sliding on the floor.
On the floor, yeah. And that little sound they make when their claws are trying to grab traction on the floors or trying to turn a corner. Oh, I love that sound. All right, in our second story here, locals at a beach in Malaysia. This is not as fun a story. Locals at a beach in Malaysia were left stunned and horrified when a giant mass of rotting flesh washed ashore. Yeah, the Coast Guard discovered it on Tilak Milano Beach during a routine patrol, and they shared a video of the grisly mess to social media. The gigantic putrid mass is about 6 feet long and believed to be a half-scavenged whale carcass.
Oh, okay.
And apparently this happens all over the world with incidents of unidentifiable remains washing up on beaches from the UK to Australia. So this is among several reasons why I'm not the biggest fan of swimming in the ocean.
No, exactly. Because really listen, whales die too.
Yes.
Sharks die too. Mm-hmm. And then other critters.
The scavengers trying to pick at them a little bit. But that's a lot of meat.
Yeah.
Doesn't all get eaten.
Oh,
and sometimes it lands on your sandcastle.
I mean, it's gross enough when you forget to throw the meat out in your fridge after a few days. Can you imagine that?
Oh, my God. And the video is horrific. It's just gross. Okay, our last story here. A Florida woman had to call 911 to get help ejecting an unwanted house guest, a nearly 8-foot-long alligator.
Well,
wasn't that special?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah, it's a Florida woman. That's right. She maybe a neighbor with Paul. So Mary Hollenbach said she was at her home in Venice's Grand Palm community when she heard banging at her front screen door, which she thought might just be someone trying to enter the wrong house. Mm-hmm. So apparently that happens often enough, so that was her first thought. Hollenbach said she had two thoughts when she saw the actual source of the sound. Quote, one is, oh my gosh, I have an alligator in my house. And number two is, oh my gosh, I have an alligator in my house. How am I going to get rid of it?
Yeah, really. And I think I saw this on the news because she got her phone out and starts recording it.
Yeah. And this big boy was just sitting there in that little entrance hallway thing, taking up the entire hall.
There's a dinosaur in my house.
I
better put this on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. It ended up taking the combined efforts of several Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies and Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission officers to get the 7-foot, 11-inch gator out of the house and back to a nearby pond.
You said 11. You mean 11 foot.
Yeah. 7 foot and 11 inch.
Oh, 7 foot. Oh, so basically an 8-foot long dinosaur.
Yes. And 8 feet of gator is big. That's a lot of weight too. Yeah, because they're all muscle
and very, very strong.
Very strong. Yes, you don't. That's why it took so many people to get rid of them. So, look, I'm already not one for house guests, let alone uninvited ones. So, when it comes to the giant scaly kind that can snap me in half, you know what I'm saying.
Because the devil.
Oh, hell no. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening. The devil.
There's only way to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today.
Now, I just want to follow up real quick. You're not one for house guests anyway, so I just want to make it very clear. If you try to be a house guest at Gabe's, he did not just get the idea to unleash an alligator.
Right.
For the house guest. Just saying.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Although I will say at 7'11", he can get a scholarship somewhere.
That's right.
Exactly.
Starting at center at 7'11".
Oh, chompers.
Oh my gosh.
I saw that video.
Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy.
That's a big gator.
But it also is like when something crazy happens, there's a life-threatening situation, our instinct now is better get my phone and record it or nobody's going to believe me because that's what matters.
Well, the thing is, it's basically Pixar. It didn't happen.
Yeah. All right. Just ahead here, what's being called a devastating report from the Wall Street Journal puts a spotlight on St. Louis City, and guess what City Hall does not want on St. Louis? A spotlight nationally. Let's talk about that and what's ahead here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fenceworks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL Fenceworks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck, knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit STLFenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
John Beal knows that right after a hailstorm, new roofing companies start popping up everywhere. But the Small Business Administration reports 96% of them go out of business within the first 5 years. So how good is that warranty? John Beal started in the roofing business helping his granddad and his dad. Always offering the best roof, best price, best guarantee. John Beal Roofing, not some fly-by-the-night operation. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Israel is putting Iran on notice. Israel's foreign minister says any attack launched against the Jewish state from Iranian territory will be met with an identical response, an Israeli strike inside of Iran. Iran vows to retaliate for an attack on an Iranian diplomatic post in Syria. Tehran blames Israel. Israel has had no comment. There is dissatisfaction with both of the major party presidential candidates in a newly released poll by the AP-NORC Center for Public Affairs Research.
When asked which president did more to help people like them, roughly 1/3 say Donald Trump and about 1/4 say Joe Biden. But 30% of adults said neither Biden nor Trump. Biden scored lower on the cost of living, with only 2 in 10 thinking his presidency was helpful, while Trump's presidency rated not much better at 4 in 10. On immigration and border security, 46% think Trump's presidency helped a little or a lot. Only 16% said the same for Biden. The poll numbers also show Americans generally think that in the White House, both of the current presidential candidates did more harm than good. I'm Jennifer King.
Donald Trump wants to debate Joe Biden more than the typical 3 times. He'd like to hold the debates earlier in the current election cycle.
In a letter to the commission overseeing presidential debates, the Trump campaign asked for additional and earlier opportunities for him to take the stage against Joe Biden. Campaign officials for the former president said moving up the timetable would ensure more Americans have a full chance to see the candidates before they start voting. Currently, there are 3 presidential debates scheduled in September and October. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Amid concern over abuses of warrantless spying by the FBI, the House gearing up to consider reauthorization of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. That's the FISA program. On Wall Street, the Dow futures down 225 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 67 and I'm pretty active. I go out in the fields and work, and I noticed a difference. I take it in the morning, but I've been taking it, religiously. My body seems to like it.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets as a preferred customer.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Busy winds again today out of the west and northwest, sustained at 15 to 25, but gusting at times above 30. They will fade away late this afternoon and this evening. Other than that, this is a gorgeous Friday. Sunny skies, highs in the upper 60s, 50s, and clear for your evening plans in St. Louis. Down to 46 tomorrow morning for a crisp Saturday start. A big-time warm-up this weekend, though, under mostly sunny skies. 83 Saturday, 87 Sunday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
When you go shopping, you may not get the bargain you want, but at least you know and can compare prices. It should be that way with healthcare, but too often it's not. Need an operation on your knee? Want to know what it's going to cost? Good luck. For 3 years, hospitals have been required to provide patients with list prices and have negotiated charges for some 300 services. Only 36%, just over a third, are fully compliant. In Missouri, prices differ greatly depending on a patient's insurance. The cost of a pelvic CT scan, for example, can be 20 times more expensive in one hospital than another. Price transparency allows patients to compare providers, forces hospitals to compete on price, and helps insurers negotiate lower rates. State law should require all healthcare providers to publish prices in a user-friendly form. What we don't know is costing us. The price of healthcare shouldn't be a secret. Check out our 2024 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward at ShowMeInstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
It's Friday.
You know, it used to be in days gone by that, a big investigative report would be a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have a big impact, and, government officials are scrambling and changes happened and all of that sort of thing. And it really is pretty unusual for that to be the case now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has their particular types of media that they listen to and we consume because we've gotten really tribal, and we just look for what we want to hear. And if we don't get it, we get mad.
Yeah, we're pretty siloed, and it's self-fulfilling.
Yeah, precisely.
Stuff that we deal with.
By the way, it's 8:06 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. We're now joined by Mary Theresa McLean from the St. Louis City Republicans. And Mary Theresa, I appreciate you coming in again because Wall Street Journal publishes this report this week. And by some of the officials in St. Louis, I'm talking about the City Hall folks, I'm talking about the civic folks, the downtown folks, they admit that this is, and I've heard this word used, devastating because of the report that came out. And it looks specifically at the downward spiral of downtown St. Louis, not even all parts of St. Louis, just at the downtown St. Louis area. They've got pictures of the big buildings that used to be major sources of commerce, major sources of activity. They've got, showing that after about 6 o'clock or so, downtown pretty much empties out. And then they touch on a lot of the other things. The article itself was very well written and researched. It was clearly one of those that was done over the course of several weeks. And City Hall is reacting to this, realizing this is bad. We don't want the spotlight on St. Louis like this. But it's going to have a residual effect, I think, because they can't run from some of the things they've been trying to run from before.
Well, good morning.
Yes.
Yeah, good morning.
Very, very good morning. Even after an article like that, we're going to have a good morning.
That's right.
When you talk about after it turns dark, St. Louis, downtown St. Louis, turns into, what did you say?
Just basically empties out. It's a ghost town.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say, graveyard.
Yeah,
graveyard. Can we talk graveyard?
Yeah.
Let's talk. Go down there and tell some ghost stories. That's got to change.
Yeah.
And you know how it's going to change? And the one-party rule.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the things, a couple of sound bites that Channel 4 did a story to follow up the Wall Street. They literally did a story on the effect of this Wall Street Journal article. Alderwoman Kara Spencer was interviewed on this. Here's one of the things that she had to say.
I think this needs to be a wake-up call for our city, for our region, that this is our brand, this is our name, this is how people think of St. Louis.
Okay, so if you haven't been awakened yet, why would a Wall Street Journal report wake people up to how bad things are and the direction they're going now?
Well, I think the city people, we're awake on this stuff.
Yeah.
It's the rest of the world that is being awakened to the true picture of downtown St. Louis.
Mary Theresa, do you think this kind of thing is going to be enough to push some of the people who might be on the fence about who they vote for to actually start exploring the alternatives, essentially?
Well, we have some alternatives. Now that I'm so glad you mentioned that. August 6th, you mentioned a few minutes ago.
Right.
It's 8:06. Well, it's going to be 8:06 on August 6th, and we have a Republican running for city treasurer. That is your chance. He's highly qualified. That is your chance to help get rid of the starting point of getting rid of this one-party rule.
Yeah, and that's one of the other things, and I think this is in a soundbite that I'm going to play again, the other one from Kara Spencer, where she says, they talk about what's it going to take to come back. This is our comeback story. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, come back from what? Come back from what your rule did, from what your party's one rule did for over 70 years now.
Over 70 years.
Yeah, so come back from what? from you. I mean, that's what I would tell them if they're, the mayor says we're confident in our administration that's going to be able to, turn this around and make things better. And I'm like, make things better from what your party has done, your philosophies and ideologies has done.
There is no comeback story under a one-party rule. Mm-hmm. The only way we're going to get a comeback story is a two-party rule. The only way. And the only way that's going to happen is people go on August 6th and then again in November, and they start putting Republicans in City Hall. Again,
because that's the important thing.
It's been a very long time, but it's got to change.
I want to follow up on that, but here's that other soundbite that she said, and again, this is from KMOV.
St. Louis City should not be competing with Clayton. We should be working together to compete on the national, international scale.
Okay, so they're not competing. Clayton's not trying to compete with St. Louis. St. Louis City is driving businesses and residents out. That's what's happening. So you talked about, returning to either Republican leadership or at least bipartisan or at least multi-party leadership, because before the one-party rule started up, 74 years ago, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
The last time we've had a Republican mayor in City Hall, 1949.
And the thing was, back then, St. Louis was one of the biggest cities in America.
Over 800,000.
It was one of the most vibrant.
Yes.
Yeah,
850,000, I think it was.
And that's in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about the commerce and the business and the success and everything. That's what happened then. And since then, I don't exactly know when the arrows started really going down, but when we got into a situation in the city where it was that one-party rule, the arrows started going down real fast.
And you can get on Wikipedia, look at the population by decade of city of St. Louis, and go to 1950, which is 1949, and you can see every decade a huge downturn in population. But until then, it was rising or stayed the same. But that was a defining moment.
It really was, and now it's down to 288, I believe it is.
Oh my gosh!
Which is
that's 30,000 less than when the census was 2 years
That's
ago.
right.
Right. Well, literally, the city of Wichita has a larger population than the city of St. Louis.
It's the largest, and I don't mean to focus on the bad news, but it's the largest metropolitan drop in population of any large city in the country, 60-some percent.
Well, I wonder if that's why Wall Street Journal chose St. Louis as something that they wanted to do a story on. I am so glad they did that story because it is eye-opening for so many people around the country. And I want to put an invitation out there. If you're a Republican and you really want to see the city of St. Louis return and get away from that downward spiral, move to St. Louis so you can vote. And let's get a two-party system back in City Hall.
Speaking of that story, there was this one, and it did a really good job of kind of narrating the decline. There's this one section in here that just kind of caught me. It was from 2013. It's all about the area around the Railway Exchange building, right? So you got Macy's, which was the department store, the anchor in the lower floor of that building. They shut down. And now, granted, that was a wave of department store closings. That was kind of across the country. But shortly after that, the offices in that building emptied out. You had 4 years later, AT&T moved, even though the building was named after them. Nearby shops and restaurants suddenly had fewer customers, so they closed or moved. Next came the parking garage across the street, which also had a Pharaoh's Donuts on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Now they were holding up their ceilings with makeshift poles to keep the thing from crumbling down on top of them. They moved out and into a new space 2 blocks away in 2019. So then they took along with them an Indian restaurant, a convenience store, and a Quiznos and a karaoke bar. They all closed, and then the city condemned that garage building. Right. So it just shows this. The narrative kind of shows that decline, and all in the midst of this, you've got the single party rule kind of creating the worst economic conditions and the worst public safety conditions we've seen in decades. Right. So how do you turn that around? Like they characterize it as sort of a death. What was it? A doom loop. I call it a death spiral, but it's essentially the same thing. It's just it's this cascade failure. How do you stop those dominoes from falling?
I'm just going to keep repeating it. We've got to end the one-party rule.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do that, I'm going to say when we do that. I'm not going to say if. When we do that, that doom loop is going to turn into a new day loop.
One of the things that I've noticed, and somebody mentioned this earlier, you mentioned the railway building, and you can also look at the old AT&T building, which somebody brought up, saying they're selling these things for pennies on the dollar because nobody wants them, because Wall Street Journal report is saying this is a real estate crisis that leads to everything you were just talking about. And City Hall is saying, well, maybe we're going to use eminent domain for these buildings that have been abandoned, and we're going to do the development. Right. And I'm thinking, you're going to do the redevelopment, and you're going to do the marketing, and you're going to do the business aspect of it.
Right.
You can't pick up the trash or fix the streets or get ambulances out to emergency calls, but you're going to do the complex work of redevelopment on real estate and revitalize something that you've killed for 70 years.
No way.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's never going to happen. So address then, we talk about, okay, attract people who are going to, vote for changes, vote for, the new perspective on this, bring in more Republicans, more conservative, more free marketeers. People understand how this should work. People who are going to say, hey, public safety is a big problem here. You've got to have a competent, and you've got to have a full police force as well. All of these things that are common sense.
Right.
In the meantime, you're also battling a despair. When you say
mindset.
Yeah, it's a mindset.
Yeah.
You're battling that hopelessness and that despair. And when you say, hey, come move to the city, we need more troops on the ground to help enact these changes, probably a lot of people are saying, boy, I hope a lot of people do that.
It's like, I'm not doing it.
I'm going to stay in Chesterfield, is what you probably get of a lot of people saying. But, man, I hope you're right. Good luck to you, Mary Theresa. Just hope somebody else does it. That's what you have to overcome.
Yeah, and, for those of us who lived in the city, who still live in the city, have been here for decades, we saw what happened in the 80s with that upturn, and I think we were all excited with St. Louis City Center and Union Station reopening.
Yes. Remember that?
That was
Union Station. Oh my God!
The city was on fire.
It was
then
a revitalization.
It was
spirit
awesome.
Yeah,
all over.
Yes, and then it died, and that was so disappointing.
Well, would it have died if there was a two-party system in place?
Right.
We don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball, but I believe it would not have died if we had a two-party system.
Correct.
I think when there is no two-party system, the air of hopelessness, it just sets in, and there's no getting around it.
Because you really don't have a checks and balances.
There's no checks and balances.
Now, to Mike's question, how do you convince somebody who lives out in Chesterfield to come back to the city to do that, to be the change?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, exactly. Or Afton, or
Yeah.
I mean, even it's one thing to say they're not going to move from Ladue to South City, but what about from Afton to South City, from Maplewood to South City, from one of these places where it's not that different when it comes to demographics and economics, and it's middle class and sort of that earthy sort of feel. I mean, there are people who are saying, yeah, I got the same kind of vibe in Maplewood or Afton as I do in South City, but I'll just stay out here. Part of it is I lose part of my income if I move into the city.
Yeah,
that is true. And there's so many problems. You can look at all the problems, but it really comes down to this simple thing. We've got to end the one-party rule. If we do not, there is no comeback story ever. It's over.
Let's go into how to do that.
Okay.
Just ahead.
We're going to answer that problem.
We're talking about not just the theory of it, not the concept of it, but the actual work being done. And even if you don't live in the city, they can help as well. It's better if you live in the city if you want to help, but we can still get you some support.
Yeah, there's a myriad of ways that people can help.
But there is one race coming up, like you just said, the Treasurer's race, that can be sort of that lead aspect of this. So let's talk about that around 8:22 with Mary Theresa McLean from the St. Louis City Republicans here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Stop it right now before you blow us all away.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
What are you waiting for? Get up, get up, get up.
This week on on News Talk STL.
I stand here.
It starts at the top. It starts with Biden.
I call on Congress to authorize this effort as soon as possible.
Israeli and American forces in the Middle East are on heightened alert after Iran vowed revenge for that Israeli airstrike.
Democrats have created a political battlefield here.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Law enforcement officers dying on his watch. They're being gunned down by people that have been arrested 20 times.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Springtime is a time to get those projects done around the house, and a lot of times we focus on what is cosmetic, but how about the things that are both cosmetic and are going to improve the value of your home? And that means calling my friends at Window World. 314-993-1800. And remember, Window World, this is a business that's right here in St. Louis, been here for 20 years. Over 72,000 customers have Window World windows, and every single one of those has a lifetime warranty covering every aspect of that window, all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And here's the thing, all 72,000 of those customers got those windows probably a lot cheaper than they'd even get the inferior generic windows out there, custom made for your house. Double strength glass. You can literally stand on top of these things, which I've done. And by the way, somebody's got that window that I stood on in their home right now. We Windexed it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And it still has that lifetime warranty as well. And Window World windows are incredibly durable and they are energy efficient. So they're going to save you money on your utilities as well. Learn more at windowworld.com. But the best thing to do is call them at 314-993-1800. Get that free, no pressure, no obligation in-home estimate, and you're going to be shocked at how much money they can save you up front because the windows are less expensive. Remember, they're simply the best for less. And how much money they're going to be able to save you with that efficiency. I mean, the current Energy Star program is now at Energy Star 7, and you know what? Window World windows already exceed that energy efficiency of even the newest standards as well, and of course save you money down the road because you never have to pay to replace them because they're guaranteed with that lifetime warranty. 314-993-1800. Let them show you what they can do for you, and that is saving you money now and down the road, also improving the look and the beauty of your home and that performance. WindowWorld.com's got some information. It's a really good website, but the best thing to do is just talk to your friends here in St. Louis. 314-993-1800.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here. I want to tell you about an awesome business located in my hometown of Eureka, Missouri that we use all the time for our exterior homestead needs. Eureka Contracting and Roofing. Veteran owned. They will come to you and schedule a one-on-one consultation. They know that replacing your roof or anything on the exterior of your home is always a really big deal, which is why they've always got a no pressure, no obligation inspection and evaluation. Fully licensed and insured, nothing but the highest quality of materials made right here in the USA. 636-938-ROOF, 636-938-ROOF, EurekaContracting.com. That's EurekaContracting.com.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency. We're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
Thanks for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Radio news junkie.
Love every bit about it.
News Talk STL.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
I have a picture.
Oh, I'm blinking. This is either Thompson Twins or Howard Jones. I think it's Thompson Twins.
You got it, Thompson Twins.
Thompson Twins. Yep. You see, Mary Theresa, we do Flashback Fridays, and
Yeah,
all,
sure,
the bump,
yeah.
all the bump music is from the 80s.
Love the 80s.
Absolutely. Interesting comment here on our Rumble chat box. Ed says St. Louis used to have the best riverfront and downtown. The issue is the left doesn't care about it. They just want power and they want money. That's all. And I think that gets into what we're seeing from the hard left right now is ideology is winning out over good governance.
they've had no pushback.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't?
Yeah.
There'd be no government. It's just there's been no pushback.
That's
what
an
a
excellent
two-party system brings to the table is pushback.
Yeah.
And what we don't need all one party on either side. We need a two-party system where there's checks and balances, and each side pushes the other one to greatness.
All right, Mary Theresa McLean from the St. Louis City Republicans are in. We're talking about this Wall Street Journal article that's just by the admission of the machine in St. Louis City, devastating because it highlights, they call it a real estate crisis, but they're pointing out everything that goes with it. The public safety, the crime, the businesses leaving, everything that goes along with that. Let's start with, I know we're going to talk about the mayor's race here coming up in just a little bit, but there's an election this year as well, from a municipal perspective in St. Louis City. The city treasurer is
city
going to be
treasurer,
elected.
sheriff, and circuit attorney. And we have somebody on the Republican side running for city treasurer.
And so we're going to have him in at some point.
Oh,
here,
definitely, yes.
To talk to him. But somebody may say, okay, well, it's a treasurer's race. That's not one of those sexy running for governor type of news races right here. But this is a crucial office, and the management of St. Louis's money and the oversight and the transparency that comes with that, that's really important. This is a race people should take very, very seriously, and this is a good opportunity to put a lot of pressure on City Hall, and who knows, maybe win the race.
The treasurer position is a real grit position.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important and it's critical. Get out there and vote for the Republican candidate. Jerry Vanderweer is his name.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Yep.
And so you've got somebody with a lot of corporate finance and corporate accounting.
He has a degree.
Yeah,
he has a degree in finance and decades of experience as a small business owner, successful small business owner.
Now,
here in the city.
Right. Now, we talked about people moving into the city possibly and becoming a voter for change, but we also need other people doing other things, right? So how can those of us who live outside the city help?
Okay, so you live out Afton, Chesterfield, wherever, you can come in, and even if it's an hour a month, you can bring your talents, bring your skills, and help us on the ground game. Whether it's knocking on doors, whether it's helping us organize lists, whether it's doing data entry, whether it's getting out and helping with a luncheon that we put on. If you have the desire, tell us what it is that you're best at, and we will find a job for you.
Right. And, of course, every time I go visit one of y'all's meetings, they're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So you do have momentum right now.
We have incredible momentum. Yeah. In fact, our last meeting, Larry Connors was there speaking, and the energy was palpable. Yeah. It was fantastic. But guess who's going to be at our next meeting, the first Thursday, May 4th?
Uh-huh.
Attorney General Andrew Bailey.
Oh, great.
Wow. Okay.
Very
nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Very
nice.
Nice.
Going to be there to answer questions. So you got any questions about Kim Gardner, all that stuff, you come to the meeting and you're going to get them answered by him.
And this is
directly.
not the first time he's been to an event with the city Republicans as well. So he's been there because he was at that forum you all put on.
The town hall.
Hall as well. So, yeah.
Yes, and did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I was there too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last few minutes that we've got. Mary Theresa McLean from the City Republicans. This year is not a year that the mayor is being up for election. That's next year.
But it's not a year from, it's
right.
It's right after the November election. We are kicking right back into election season. Yeah. The mayor, the odd number wards of alderman positions. If you think that you want to run for mayor or any of the aldermanic positions, but if you're thinking about mayor, talk to us immediately. Get on our website, contact us. I get all the contacts, and we will talk immediately. Because if you're going to run for mayor, you got to produce a tremendous amount of signatures to get on the ballot. So you can't wait to decide till November and gather all those signatures. Talk to us now, and let's get going. We want to talk to you.
This has to be a referendum on Tashara Jones of the complete. It's not even just that it's one party; it's that it's all extremist leftist.
Yes.
So this has to be a referendum on their performance, and you get that out in front of people with aggressive campaigns and say, "This is a referendum on the city hall." What do you want, St. Louis? I think that there could be some shockwaves sent through the city.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I think the potential is there even to pick off some otherwise Democrat voters, because they live in the city too, right? They have to deal with all of these issues too. But you say, hey, look, you need an alternative. You've been dealing with this for 70 years. Here we are. Give us a chance.
And, you know, as much as you all can hammer that we have been under a one-party rule for over 70 years, because most people, they just aren't aware of it.
Yeah, that's right.
And once they become aware of it, the light bulb comes on.
That's what I'm seeing is I think some people, like, for instance, have responded to these conversations we've had, and they said, Mike, I've been around town. They said, I didn't know there were Republicans in the city until
we get that all the
start
time.
talking,
I mean, we talk about that all the time.
Right.
Every time I'm on, we talk about that. People say, I just thought I was the only one.
Right,
Oh, my
exactly.
gosh.
You're not
and
alone.
they're just so shocked. And then another light bulb comes on. Oh, really? And then they start to get involved, and it's just wonderful.
Well, so now it's gone beyond, and I know we've got to get to some Larry Connor's commentary. Well, I guess Larry's last hour, right? Or is Larry this hour?
It was last
hour, yeah.
You're right.
But we got to get to the information segment here in a second. So it's gone from, at least I know I'm not alone and I can come socialize. But it was, but we don't have any chance to win. Now it's like, wait a minute, we can actually have a big impact here. So it's getting real. I mean, and so the work isn't going to get easier, but it is going to become more fruitful the more that people get involved.
It's more than we can have an impact. We are making an impact. It's small, but it's growing.
Yeah, and of course there are boards and commissions as well that by city charter, you've got the ability to nominate people that can get on and actually start serving and making a difference now.
We have the ability to nominate. They're supposed to put Republicans on. We've hit a bit of a wall with going past the nominating process to actually getting someone on a board and commission, but we haven't stopped.
No, exactly. All right, so let's tell people how to get in touch again. The website, I think we tagged on social media already, right, Gabe?
Yes.
We did. So let's get the website. If people say, all right, I at least have questions, I at least have ideas, how do they get in touch?
Go to stlouisrepublicans.com. There's several contact forms all over the website. Just do that. And I watch for those emails every day. So contact us that way.
Sounds great. All right, Mary.
Thank you so much.
You got it, Mary Theresa. Always good to have you here in the studio, because once these stories, make this impact and people are talking again, there's a lot of people who just lament how bad it is, but it's important to say, okay, and here's what you can do about it.
Yeah.
Let's get past the lamenting stage and get into the work stage.
Right. And
the real work. And the real work is every day you put one foot in front of the other. It's not a once a month meeting. It's every day.
Yeah. Because we know what the solutions are. We know what's going to make things better. It just has to get done. And the current, single party, uniparty, and they're not going to do it. They've proven that over
70 years.
Yeah, over 3-4 generations now. All right.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. We'll talk to you again soon. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I have a picture pinned to my wall.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL.
You and me, and we're laughing with love at it all.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Look at our life now. All tattered and torn. We fuss and we fight and delight in the tears that we cry until dawn. Oh, hold me now.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Winds again today out of the west and northwest, sustained at 15 to 25, but gusting at times above 30. They will fade away late this afternoon and this evening. Other than that, this is a gorgeous Friday. Sunny skies, highs in the upper 60s, 50s, and clear for your evening plans in St. Louis. Down to 46 tomorrow morning for a crisp Saturday start. A big-time warm-up this weekend, though, under mostly sunny skies. 83 Saturday, 87 Sunday. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Trimble.
Fox News commentary.
President Biden is reportedly mulling over the idea of taking executive action on the border crisis. It only took 3.5 years and really low poll numbers to get there. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Immigration is shaping up to be the issue of the 2024 election, and Democrats know they have no leg to stand on, and Joe knows it too. After 3.5 years of ignoring the issue, pretending it's not a crisis, and allowing 10 million illegal immigrants to take root in our country, Joe is reportedly considering his options to stem the flow and take executive action. That's cute, but too little too late. We all know this has nothing to do with his genuine will and desire to fix the problem, but rather the poll numbers and number of voters who will jump ship over his handling of the invasion. Joe may very well do something in the next month to make a dent in the problem, but we all know if re-elected, he will open the borders wider than ever once the threat of losing an election isn't looming. Donald Trump is the only answer and the only leader who will take legitimate action. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
Tim Jones here with Stewie, the bagel loan guy. Stewie, mom and dad always told me don't refinance unless you can save at least 1 percentage point. What say you?
We're going to break that rule of thumb with the bagel loan. No closing costs at all. Now, your mom always told you that because there was $3,000-$4,000 in fees you had to pay. If you're saving $100 a month, it takes you 40 months to recoup it. With the bagel loan, no closing costs at all.
What happens if rates drop?
Tim, just do it again. As long as it doesn't cost you anything, you'll be way ahead of the game, and that's what counts.
314-324-4440, or better yet, just Google the bagel loan.
MLS number 226715.
Are you fed up with paying too much for lightning-fast doctor visits with too little information? Well, I was too, and decided to create an alternative. Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler here, asking you to take a look at no copay, no deductible visits with me and my team. That's Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Let's face it, the system's broken. No respect for your money or your time. So learn about a better way for your primary care. Schedule your discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com, shepherding you to medical freedom.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel, and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
All right, don't forget, 7 days a week, we are number one for local conservative news and talk, including Sunday nights at 6 o'clock. That is Stand and Fight with our very own friend, Nick Schroer.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
A national media report about the downward spiral of the city is being called devastating by some leaders. We're going to follow up. We just talked about that with Mary Theresa McLean. And OJ's dead.
Yeah, he gone.
Finally. All right, let's get the morning news dump going here. 8:39 here. Stell's here. Gabe's here. My name is Mike. All right, just take a deep breath around St. Louis, and you're going to be reminded that marijuana dispensaries are plentiful and legal around here.
Oh, man.
I mean, seriously, it's amazing. Just about anywhere you go, it's not unusual to go, oh, somebody's token.
Yeah,
we know that's happening.
I can't go grocery shopping without getting a contact high. Honestly.
Or you pull up at a stoplight. And
Oh,
you can-
yeah.
Gosh,
You can smell it.
Well, or in St. Louis, we don't actually stop at stoplights. It's St. Louis.
You're
Come
just
on.
rolling through.
Don't be silly. All right. Well, among the newest dispensaries is one called Kind Goods on South Broadway. Now, it's open. It opened, I guess, this week. And this is the one that a lot of people had a lot of heartburn over. It's basically directly across the street from Life Academy Charter School. I mean, when I say across the street, I don't mean it's in the neighborhood. No. I don't mean it's across but a couple blocks down. I mean it's across the street.
Right. When you come out of the door of the charter school,
Yeah.
you're staring at the sign that says,
Right.
hey, get your gummies over here.
Yeah, and that's where that Jimmy John's was. They're in Soulard, and now it's this dispensary.
Mm-hmm.
The school and some area residents complained about the location of this particular pot shop, but the city said, oh, yeah, we eliminated the distance requirements for dispensaries, and so there's nothing they can do, but they have since reinstated those dispensary distance requirements from schools and from churches.
Yeah.
But to be really honest, in a lot of parts of downtown and Soulard and some of those others, who else is going to buy up those buildings and put in a retail establishment of a legal product?
That's true.
Not
I mean, I would much rather smell a Jimmy John's. But the pot is kind of ubiquitous, and it's going to be with us for a good long while.
And economically, so far, it's been a net positive. There's no argument about that. Now, somebody can argue, but it won't be eventually. Maybe, but right now it's definitely been a net positive.
People are making money.
Okay, so a week from today is the deadline for Congress to extend FISA, which is the government spying program that the FBI says is crucial to detecting and preventing threats to the homeland. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. This is one of those few times when several Republicans joined with Democrats to say, no, we want to see some changes here. And what they're demanding and what they're specifically saying is that there has to be a requirement that the government get warrants to surveil people or to spy on people for investigations. Congressman Russell Fry, he's a Republican out of South Carolina, was on Fox Business last night talking about that.
There are exigent circumstance exceptions within the warrant requirement. There are things when you need to get a speedy warrant that you can do, but you can do this in a lawful way that adheres to the Constitution and puts these guardrails on these agencies that have abused this for years.
Okay, some of the political leaders in the U.S. House are doing what's kind of referred to as a test vote to see whether or not they can get this FISA renewal without any changes. That's literally happening right now at the U.S. Capitol, as in this very moment.
Kill FISA, renew the tax cuts, and then be done.
Yeah, precisely. Because it really comes down to, of course, the FBI is like, but we have to have this tool to stop crime and terrorist threats. And the thing is that there's really not that many people who are saying you can't have the tool. You have to abide by the Constitution and get a warrant. And the Department of Justice, the FBI, that's what they're pushing back on. And so you have to ask the question, if you're intellectually honest, why are you pushing back? Why won't you go get the warrant? And we spoke with Paul Curtman a little bit earlier today, and he says even that, the renewal is not enough, to your point, Gabe, because the warrants are done by a secret court and nobody knows. Yeah. And if they get caught, they can just say, we had a warrant. No, I'm not showing it to you because it's a FISA warrant, which is secret.
Well, and even now, even if we can show that the FISA warrant was issued fraudulently, they'll say, "Well, my bad."
Yeah.
Even though they may or may not have destroyed somebody's life in the process.
Precisely. All right. City and business leaders are responding to that Wall Street Journal report that we were just talking about. So if you want to know what the basics of that is, the summary here comes from KMOV anchor Samantha Jones, who kind of gave us a very quick overview before they did a 3-minute report on this entire article of the Wall Street Journal.
Rundown buildings and vacant high rises. It is no secret downtown St. Louis has seen better days. Well, now it's getting national attention for being stuck in a so-called doom loop. The Wall Street Journal article calls St. Louis a real estate nightmare and a cautionary tale for other cities.
So congratulations, we've got a national spotlight, but that national spotlight is, hey, everybody else, don't be like St. Louis City.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm actually glad that this article came out. It's bringing to light a conversation that we've been having for years and years and years right now. The national spotlight, hopefully, sunlight's the best disinfectant. Maybe it'll help burn out some of the infection here.
Yeah. All right. After 2 home series, and this could be related, the Cardinals have had the lowest attendance at Busch Stadium other than when government shutdowns were in place during the COVID fear-mongering era. Tuesday night's game was the smallest night game attendance at the current Busch Stadium in about 20 years. Other than opening day, attendance has not reached 40,000 at any of the home games. And granted, there's only been 2 home series, but this is really unusual. It's already caught people's attention. Very well could be related to all of the things that were outlined in that Wall Street Journal report.
Yeah, we've discussed a lot of the factors going into this. I mean, yeah, people try to push it a little bit on the Cards' mismanagement on some levels, but that's not the full story. I think it has a lot to do with not only the bigger economy issues, but the local St. Louis economy and public safety issues as well.
Yeah, huge amount of things. All right. By the way, O.J. Simpson dead at the age of 76. His family says he died of cancer. Family asked for respect for their privacy at this time. Nicole Brown and Ronna Goldman not available for comment.
the white Bronco has rolled off into the sunset. Now we don't know
where it went.
Which direction?
Could be sitting in a used car lot somewhere.
that particular.
Actually, probably worth a lot of money if that vehicle is still around.
Yeah.
Well,
first of all, a 30-year-old vehicle I think does classify as a classic car.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then also the whole
that tens of millions of people, including me, watched on TV with that slow-rolling police chase that was 30 years ago now.
Yeah. If I had the money to do it, I wouldn't buy that. I'd rather have like the Ghostbusters car or something.
Oh, heck yes.
A DeLorean
yes.
from Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
Batmobile.
Batmobile.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Almost any of them.
By the way, did you know a lot of those vehicles are in Missouri?
Really?
Yeah, they're in the Lake of the Ozarks.
Why?
Because the Plaster family collects some of those.
Oh, okay. Like
the
original
the
film,
actual
film version.
Some of those vehicles we just talked about are actually in Missouri.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. The Blues are holding on to their very, very slim but still mathematically viable playoff hopes. They host Carolina tonight at the Enterprise Center in the second to last home game of the season. Puck drops at 7, and the game is on NHL Net. Here's the thing is that even if the Blues win out the last 3 games of the year, that doesn't guarantee that they're going to get in the playoffs. Some other things have to go right for them as well.
Yeah.
All right, the Cardinals start another road trip tonight. They play the Diamondbacks in the desert at 8:40. Bally Sports has that game. Lars Nootbaar, now off the DL, the disabled list, he's actually expected to rejoin the team and play tonight.
Okay.
So we start getting some of our outfielders back.
The big money people.
The ones who aren't going to drop the ball.
I knew you were going to say it.
Give up 2 runs.
Or get picked off a base.
Or, not even picked off. He just got a single and then got out. I sent you that video last night. Did you see that?
No, sorry. I
didn't.
Look
at your messenger.
Okay.
I sent you. I'm like, this is what I was bitching about. Because he runs down first base and then he starts to hook over.
He took the wide turn?
He took the wide turn and then goes, I changed my mind. And Bryce Harper went, thank you. You're out.
Oh, man.
Rookie.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
To get to know Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer. Those are dentists and my dental team, along with their dental team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. You know, whether it's economic value with their dental savings plan and their real concern about giving you value, which is, of course, quality at a great price, or whether it's their personal values, their dedication to absolute precision. I can tell you when I go in and get my treatment there or just a cleaning, whatever, it's always, I get this feeling it's like laser guided precision. Well, yeah, they have lasers, but they don't do that for everything, of course. It's the right tool for the right job. Whether it is dental implants, whether it's just general dentistry, cosmetic dentistry, and by the way, he can use some Botox in all the right ways for those applications as well. You'll find the greatest of care, the greatest value, delivered with people who have real values, the values we share at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. Get to know them by calling 636-978-0226, 636-978-0226, or advancedentistrynow.com. That's Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
Katie
Katie here, and I'd like to talk to you guys about Michael's Flooring Outlet. You could gain peace of mind with Michael's Flooring Outlet for your flooring and carpet installation needs. Their team of experts ensures that the job is done right the first time, providing you with attentive and personalized service. Just like my parents, you can trust them to replace your old carpet with beautiful hardwood flooring. Visit one of their 3 locations in Dardenne Prairie, St. Peters, or Creve Coeur, or check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Is another 2008 financial crisis looming? This is Kevin Demerit for Lear Capital. Just listen to the news. Numbers don't lie. Personal debt is at record highs. Corporate bankruptcies are soaring. Just the interest on our debt will hit $1 trillion this year. Then you have central banks buying record amounts of gold to protect their own assets. They see what's coming and it's a no-brainer. Maybe it's time for you to do the same. Move some of your paper assets into gold because they can't print more gold. It's easy to buy, easy to sell, and it's never been worth zero.
Folks, Kevin Demerit has been spot on about the economy and gold. Call Lear Capital today at 1-800-927-2400 for your free gold investor kit and their 2024 special report, Rising Debt, Rising Gold. Tell them Kevin sent you and you'll also get free shipping on your first order. Call 1-800-927-2400. That's 1-800-927-2400, 1-800-927-2400.
Hi, this is Ron Clutho. Join me for Groovy Grooves every Saturday to hear songs like this and memories that will take you back to a groovier place and time. Be sure to check out the playlist at newstalkstl.com for more Groovy Grooves.
And now for something completely different.
Groovy Grooves with Ron Clutho. Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. If you are sick and tired of the corporate news bubble, if you like unedited information free from corporate money, if you want straight talk with no script, join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on The Rob Carter Show.
Live and local, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL. This is 101.9 and 94.1.
I have to tell you, if this is how they're going to behave, I'm rethinking my position.
News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Man, we've had some interesting Flashback Friday songs today.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh, man. I mean,
well, and then, of course, you're over there flexing your music cred. Like, within the first 3, like, maybe one measure of music is
I know the song.
And you know the song, you know the artist, you know what they had for breakfast the day before they recorded the song. I'm like, geez, Mike, what's going on here?
It's called being a nerd.
Yes, exactly. I think we're all nerds in our own little way, aren't we? You know, so I mean, if you ask me about the technical specifications of the transporter from Star Trek, I can let you know about phase modulation and counterbalancing.
What was the one that's called the something lift in one of the Star Trek movies?
Turbo lift.
Turbo lift. I actually have stood inside that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because it's in the prop warehouse at Hollywood Studios out there in LA, and I was given a tour of that prop warehouse, and it was there, and they let us go in there, and I've got a picture somewhere of it, and I sent it to my wife, who's kind of a nerd about Star Trek too. And she's like, I can't believe you got to be in the lift, the turbo lift thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what was funny is there was a rack of jackets and shirts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them were the actual Pink Ladies jackets from Grease.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, the actual Pink Lady.
I love all that stuff.
Yeah, it was just propped and it was tagged and it was all right there. And then another one was the Transformers, the big, what's the main Transformer?
Oh, Optimus Prime and
that
Bumblebee.
was there. The Bumblebee one. It was that one.
That's pretty awesome.
And it was there. And the thing was huge.
Oh,
it wasn't like, that wasn't CGI. That was a big thing.
It's a big dude.
So, my wife and her kids really got annoyed after a while because when I first met them, they were into the Transformers stuff. And they showed the picture, the video or something. I'm like, oh, I met him. Like, shut up. Shut up. All right, we got a couple minutes left here. Okay. So, yeah, we can do this. Tony's got a comment on the Dylan Mulvaney thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, which, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to our podcast yet, please do that. We talked to Nick Baker from the Young Americas Foundation.
Yeah.
Remember, they weren't allowed to have Matt Walsh on a couple years ago to talk about what is a woman.
Because he's too controversial.
Right, which is something a university should be doing, but they're spending tens of thousands to bring Dylan Mulvaney to St. Louis.
The same venue, too.
Yeah, the exact same one. So I got about a minute and a half for you, Tony, before the information segment. What do you think?
Well, I was just going to say that I'd be willing to dye my hair a crazy color and paint my beard just to get in there to ask him what a woman is.
That's right. Here's the thing, Tony, is they're afraid of that happening. So if you don't have an active SLU ID.
I wish I did.
Yeah. I mean, colleges are known for fake IDs. Is there not somebody who can make a fake ID?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I would give you my GoPro to wear during that encounter, and that footage would go viral instantly.
I can doctor my ID from the early 70s for you.
Yeah. Yeah, because Tony, appreciate it, man. Have a great one.
Thanks, man.
Because, they're going to, Dylan Mulvaney's going to say, well, it's me.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, dude, you're not,
And here's what being a woman is. And you kind of described the video that he had where he talked about basically the worst stereotypes of a horrible woman that he thinks is emblematic of womanhood.
Right. And if you missed it earlier, it was one of those reaction videos from some young conservative commentator, and I don't know what her name is.
Right.
She played a clip of Dylan Mulvaney's song, and I don't even know what the name of the song is because I went out of my way to not know.
Yeah.
But it's a video that he's featured in, and I guess he sang the song. It sounds like it's auto-tuned like crazy.
Of course it is.
And what he's singing about is popping pills. Literally popping pills, going to get, mental medications, retail therapy and shopping, being a slut and doing a walk of shame. I didn't even know his name. I mean, that's literally what this guy is singing about, saying that's what it means to be a woman.
Now, change all the things too. He believes he's a black guy.
Yeah.
he goes through all kinds of surgeries to make himself look more African American, and he sings about doing drugs and committing crimes and hating education, and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
That is what's happening.
Yeah, he gets canceled at that point. All right, Vic Porcelli coming your way here in just about 6 minutes. Have a great weekend, everybody. By the way, I'm playing ball in Fairview Heights tonight. Moody Park, if you want to come watch a bunch of old guys play baseball.
Do it.
Well, perhaps my work here is done. Perhaps it's time that I moved on to a place where there's stuff to do. Stuff to do.
Tony Colombo here, along with Tim Jones for Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Rodney and Jen are the #1 home selling team in the area, and I can say that from personal experience. They sold our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible, which put us in a great position as we tried to find our perfect new home. And with help from the Wallners, that's exactly what we did. Christine and I couldn't be happier with our experience working with Rodney and Jen Wallner. And Tim, the numbers speak for themselves.
That's right, Tony. Everybody knows the Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. And if you're looking to sell your home, right now they have so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the St. Louis region, you can put the Wallners' experience and work ethic to work for you. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call Rodney and Jen Wallner now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, you see a huge group of people and maybe they're in line to do something and they seem happy about it. You have to wonder, okay, what am I missing? What's going on here? What are these people excited about? Well, in this case, it's thousands of people and they're joining MediShare. Why? Well, MediShare is a much more affordable alternative to health insurance. It's reliable, too. It's a well-run community of Christians. They've been sharing each other's medical expenses for more than 30 years, so it's proven. And if you switch, you'll likely save hundreds of dollars